Hello, welcome to Icarus for Renegade Con. My name is Spencer Stark. I am joined by a fabulous crew for tonight's game. We're going to go around the horn and do some introductions. Let's start with you, Mark.
Hey, I'm Mark Street. I'm with the Dice Tower and excited to play tonight.
Great. Elisa.
Hi, I'm Elisa Teague, game designer, board games, and role-playing games, and I'm really happy to be finally playing this game.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. Anjali.
Hi, I'm Anjali Bhamani. I'm an actress. I play a lot of Dodgers on TV. I play a lot of RPGs on streams, and my AirPods are dying.
Oh no!
That's pretty much my story right now, and I'm super excited to play this game.
I love it. Well, we're excited to have you here, Jonathan.
I'm Jonathan Ying. I'm a game designer, and I am super excited to be here.
Awesome. So for those of you who don't know, I'm going to sort of do an introduction to Icarus. It is a storytelling game about how great civilizations fall. So we're going to take on the role of a civilization, various people inside of a civilization, and sort of play out its destruction, I guess, from utopia to dystopia. We've had a sort of pre-session where we've decided some stuff already, and we're going to be playing in what's deemed the Future West. This is the new piece that just came out for Free Content Friday through Hunters for Icarus. Every month, I have the pleasure of being able to write a new prompt for Icarus to put up online so that people who are playing can play things outside of what is in the book. So I'm going to read through what that prompt is so that we're all on the same page, everybody's watching and everybody here. And then we'll do some world building and some character creation, and then we'll get into the game. Okay.
Let's rock.
We'll pull that up.
Do it.
So Icarus, the Future West. Established first as a sprawling prison colony, shot up to Mars in hopes of using the prisoners to build a decadent city for the richest of Earth's population, the terrible storms and brutal temperature fluctuations on the planet eventually led to the project being scrapped altogether and the prisoners being abandoned there. But they continued to build and terraform. Finally, despite hundreds of years of isolation from Earth, the city of Icarus has been transformed into a massive, futuristic frontier town, hailed as the new Wild West. For those of you who know the two properties, it's sort of like a Horizon Zero Dawn meets Red Dead Redemption kind of thing. So we're going to smash those two worlds together and see what comes out. So let's get started. I'm going to explain kind of how the game normally runs because it's a different process than how the game will run here. Normally, when we play Icarus, we spend our rounds adding dice to a tower in the center of the table, literally a dice tower that's stacked up. And as dice are added, the civilization gets closer to destruction until eventually that tower falls. And when that happens, the civilization falls and the game comes to an end. Now, given that we're all on a live stream here, we won't be able to use that Dex aspect of the game. So instead, we have the Dexless version that's included in the back of the book, and it will basically allow us to run through the game in a similar manner, but instead of stacking dice, we're going to be rolling dice, noting their number and marking an X on that number when it hits. Now you'll notice here there are only 1, 2, 3, and 4 in this box. That's because a 5 and a 6 are a success. So when a 5 and 6 are rolled, we will not need to mark it, and the civilization will not get closer to destruction. Just so that everybody's aware, this is a story of the fall of a civilization, meaning that the game will end in the fall of that city. There is no resolution in which that doesn't happen. So our goal here is to just tell the most interesting story we can about how the civilization goes from being great to being smoldering ruins, right? Should be fun. We'll see. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put out a bunch of pillars on the table. I'm not going to be playing the game. I am going to be facilitating. Normally, you don't need a facilitator for the game. I want to be here as a resource, especially because we're playing it online and it's everybody's first time. I think 4 will give us the best opportunity we have to see the game in action. So
wish us luck.
Good luck. So I will be acting as a facilitator, but no, when you play this game, normally everybody is playing. There's no GM at the table. It is a collaborative game entirely. So let's jump in. I'm going to draw 5 pillar cards for the 4 players we have. So we draw 1 more pillar, then there is player. And I'll make these nice and, well, actually, we're okay to leave them small for right now because
Social structure.
so
Health.
social structure, health, religion, communication, and education. Okay, so these are the 5 pillars of our civilization. One of these will serve as the structure, as the tower that's in the center of our city. The rest of them will serve as strengths, except for one. One of those leftover aspects or leftover pillars will be the weakness in our city. You'll see there are choices for strength and weakness. Don't worry about those right now. Just worry about the pillar itself. And this will be the part of the city that you're most interested in exploring as your character and as a player. So does anybody have one that sticks out to them in this sort of futuristic Wild West that they're most interested in exploring?
I'm liking the idea of managing the pecking order of this here society.
Okay, the social structure?
Social structure for me.
Nice.
Okay, so go ahead and right-click on that and
Okay.
take that card. Anybody else?
I'm
I
kinda
grab
looking-
health.
Are you okay?
Unless, did you really want it?
I kind of wanted health. I want to be an old country doctor.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the old country doctor.
We
I
might
mean,
have
I
a
guess
doctor fight here.
it is a little on the nose for me to be playing another doctor. So let me grab let me grab education.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, what happened to my pick? Okay.
All right, I guess then who? See, I'm thinking about it like what is the tower going to be then?
Right, yep, uh-huh.
Think the opposite way. I don't really I'll go for religion. I think
Okay,
communication tower would be cooler. So I'll
Cool.
take religion.
Work.
great. So we're gonna leave the communication card here. We'll address that in just a minute. Don't worry about it for now.
Literally a communications tower.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
That's right.
Like, it's
That's
a
right.
giant telephone pole.
Well,
Right?
you know what? Given the fact that we lost contact with Earth a long time ago,
Mhm.
sort of writes itself
That's
in that
what
way.
I'm thinking. I'm like, that would make a cool story since it's been hundreds of years
Yeah.
Right.
abandoned here. Maybe this is our thing we're
I
building.
mean, we are the new frontier,
it.
so like things are
Right.
going well for us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
But only if we can pick up whatever device we have to use with it and say, "Hello, I'd like Venus 51995." When we say it like that,
Yeah.
Yes, that's
then
exactly
I'm
how you say it.
super into it.
Wonderful. Okay, so what I want all of you to do now is go ahead and pull up the cards, and you are going to look. They have a strength and a weakness question. One of you will be choosing the weakness, and the rest of you will be choosing the strength. Now, note that it's not going to make you better or worse at anything. It's not going to make the game easier or harder for you. It just is what we feel like is the most interesting weakness question to ask about the civilization that we're building. Does anybody have one that stands out to them off the bat?
I mean, I love the weakness here in education. 'cause
Okay,
it's
what is
a
that one? Do you want to read it?
secret. The citizens of Icarus are taught only what they need to know. What important knowledge is being hidden from them and why?
I like it.
ooh.
Yes.
So sinister,
Yes.
right?
Anybody
So
else have
good.
one they feel like they want to pitch as well,
Hmm.
or do we want to go with that one? That one's
I really like that one a lot.
okay.
As far as weakness, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we'll go with that with the weakness. So everybody else is going to use their strength question. So let's go around and read off your strength question, and then we'll talk about what that answer might be. So Mark, let's start with you.
All right. So there was a major medical breakthrough or discovery within Icarus that kept the people here healthier. So what is it, and how has it affected the way society operates?
Ooh. Huh.
Interesting, huh? So what do
Yeah.
you guys think? I mean, I kind of like the idea of being, since we're on Mars,
Mhm.
suddenly we found a bizarre spring of some sort. And
Bingo.
the water here is something special.
Ooh, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I like it too. Super dig it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm going to put this here, and then if you just want to go over to the text thing and just type out sort of a little bit about what that entails, and then I'll stick it on one of those Post-its.
All right. So we'll call it
Super
spring-
water.
Super. Oh, I like it. Super water. Yes. I like it.
Water 2, even better than
Yeah,
Water two.
H220. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we've
Uh,
got better water than normal.
Yep.
Great, super water. All right, I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it over here. Great. Let's jump to Elisa. Let's jump to you.
Okay, my strength is the supernatural plays a unifying role in the everyday lives of the people of Icarus. Who or what do they believe in? And what phrase, symbol, or other physical manifestation do they use to express that belief? So I'm thinking we're on Mars. Maybe they've seen some sort of like star, star structure or something that wouldn't have been seen from Earth.
Maybe a black hole of some sort.
Yeah, actually, fear a black hole and then praise the starlight because it's kind of like the opposite of that. And so maybe their symbol is a star, but they're afraid of the black hole getting them. That's what keeps them in line.
Yes, I like it.
I love that.
Black holes in the void of space.
And the black hole is known as smudges.
Oh my god. Yes.
Old smudge.
Yes.
Yes.
It could be a black hole. It could be a cat. 50-50.
Right.
Smudges.
I mean, it's like Old Scratch, right? This is what we call the devil.
Indeed.
So do you want me to write that out somewhere?
I can actually type it for you. I pulled the aspect down already. So do you want to just recap for me in like a short phrase what it would be?
Fear of the black hole, swallowing the planet is what keeps people in line, while the praise of the stars is what they believe in, and that's their symbol.
And stars keep people. Would you say the praise of the stars?
Yes, that's what they believe in is going to keep them alive. Is starlight, right?
Love it. Okay. Let's add this. Make this aspect just a little bit bigger to fit that. Okay. And then we'll move this whole thing over. I'm actually going to move that down here just so that it's a little bit out of the way for now. Oop, that's off the page. And there. Okay. Okay. I will finesse that. Let's jump to you. Anjali.
Yes, so I have the weakness though.
Oh boy.
So we get to discuss the weakness?
Yeah.
The weakness.
Like this.
The darkness. All right, so the weakness again.
What could go wrong?
The citizens of Icarus are taught only what they need to know. What important knowledge is being hidden from them and why? If our big thing is this communications tower, what if we actually, there is a select few upper class folks who have awareness of a way to communicate with Earth? Go ahead.
What if the select few in the like high end of society, high end of the government already know that Earth has been destroyed long ago and we're building the tower for nothing?
I like it.
Or for something else.
A lot.
Or for something else.
Yeah, this tower isn't for that. It's the thing that
the tower is to communicate. Yeah. Okay, so the tower is theoretically to communicate with some other.
Yeah, like we think
reconnect with Earth.
Like
we think we're trying to get back home, but we ain't trying to get back home.
No, I like it. That's perfect.
Dark.
I love it.
Darkness.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna put this down here.
Not too close to home or anything, but
yeah. Well, especially in today's times, this game is going to be very. That's why I tried to set it as far away from the world that we're in right now as possible. Right. You could definitely put it in, in a modern times and play out a lot of the stuff that's happening.
Totally could, yeah.
Okay, so this is going to be. Sorry, what was your pillar again? What was the name of it?
Education.
Education. That's right. Okay. Education. Oh, I'm gonna make them all caps.
And our weakness is the Earth is gone.
Oh God.
Yeah, the Earth is secretly
the people
secretly
the Earth is secretly gone.
I like it.
Brutal.
Okay.
Brutal.
We'll want to explore who are we actually trying to speak to, and we'll figure that out as we play.
Yes.
Actually gone.
That's some darkness right there.
I'm putting a question mark, an exclamation point, and a question mark, and then another exclamation point.
Dude, that's a lot of Scooby. That's good.
It's real Scoob, going full Scoob.
I like it.
Great, and Jonathan, let's jump to you.
So I've got another strength. I think let's bring it a little more lighthearted for the moment.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm loving this idea of super water being this very valuable, like, kind of health resource
Sure.
to us. And so our strength is Icarus holds high those who embody what the city most values. What group of people are most respected and why?
Mm.
So we're going for this kind of boomtown Wild West thing. I
Mhm.
think that super water is harvested from glaciers,
Yeah.
and these
Oh,
glaciers
cool.
are like moving around. They're crashing. There's like these huge seas of glaciers, and ice riders are sort of a group of people who are
Yeah.
with herding these glaciers away from civilization, and
It's
also
so good.
finding the ones that do have super water, because a lot of them just have normal boring H2O.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Right. But like if they can find like a super water vein and herd it to town, that is the way. And it's an incredibly dangerous occupation.
Of course.
But of course, those who can manage it are thought of as the creme de la creme, the coolest of the cool.
They are
Also,
the rock
they're
stars.
called ice riders, which is
Yeah.
just cool to begin with.
Right.
I typed it wrong. I
Well,
put Glacier Riders. They are
freaking
called Ice
played.
Riders.
Ice riders. Yes.
Ice rider, one word.
Jonathan, do you go by Jonathan or John?
It's all the same to me.
It's all the same thing. Should I just call you Gladys? What? I'm just
Gladys.
Jonathan.
Gladys. There you go. I
Jonathan's
like
fine.
that.
Go with Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Okay, great. So we've sort of established each of those pieces of our city. Now we're going to create our characters. So if you just want to take a moment and just sort of come up with a character name, a character concept based on the pillar and these motives I'm about to pass out to you. For those of you watching, I'm going to pass out motive cards. They're things like protect the citizens or protect the city or bring down Icarus. I'm going to pass one out to each player, deal one card to.
Does our strength or weakness, whatever we're playing, does that affect our character as well, or that's just like a society thing?
It's something that exists within the society that your character will have to contend with. So like
Right.
so for you it might be, depending on what motive you get, you might be somebody who's trying to keep the earth, you're trying to keep that secret from getting out, or it might be that you're trying to expose it, right? It just depends on what that motive is. So everybody should have their motives now. Again, these are not necessarily secret. If we were playing together at a table, we'd have these face up, but just know that they exist in your hands.
Okay.
So if you want to take a moment, sort of think that out, and then if you just want to let me know what your character name is, I can type it to put it on the board, and then you can sort of explain to us what they are like. It doesn't need to be fully fleshed out. It can be fairly rudimentary now, and we will get to fleshing them out as the game goes.
My motive is get rich. I believe that my character is the Secretary of Education.
Oh,
of
yeah.
Our fine colony.
I love it.
And she is in cahoots. Yeah, I said the word cahoots. I own it. In cahoots with the communications director and a lot of these other government officials to take public funds and funnel them into her own
pocket them.
hands.
Oh, good.
Pocket them and use them for her own devices.
Great. Let's
ice riding. No.
Let's give her a name. If you want, you can refer to that.
Abigail.
I love it.
This is the first one. That's a good name. Abigail. I like it.
Great. I have put it down on the sheet. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so it fits here. Okay. So there is Abigail. Anybody else have a thought on their character?
One.
Yeah.
Okay, so my motive is protect the citizens. And I have, religion. So I'm going to say that I am a star druid.
Oh.
Named Skye, Skye, and she truly believes that through her, supernatural powers, that everybody now believes in, that she helps harness the star power that goes into these glaciers. That's what makes them so powerful.
Oh, interesting.
Charged up by the stars. And she is trying to protect the citizens by, not praying, but harnessing the power of the stars so that we have plenty of this super water.
Love it.
Yeah.
Make
Oh,
super.
That's good.
Okay, she, her, correct? For Sky, she, her?
I think so.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, great. I'm gonna put that here. Awesome. Okay. Anybody else?
So mine is protect the leaders.
Okay.
And since I'm mostly concerned with health, he is an old country doctor. However, he has led the research into this super water. And along the way, somewhere has also become a bit of a water baron because he knows all the intricacies of this water more than anybody else on this planet. So, yeah, his goal is to make sure that the leadership stays healthy so we can fulfill this society.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing.
Okay.
What's the actual motive again? That yours?
Protect the leaders.
Protect the leader.
And
Protect
his
the
name-
leaders, not the
His
people.
name is Conrad Rosscap.
Love it.
Oh, well, he's got a last name.
Yes, he does.
Isn't he fancy? He is a baron. Baron
That's
von
right.
Rothschild, or whatever it is.
The house. Yeah. Great.
Yep. He has all his shirts embroidered.
Great. As you
Oh,
do
he's
when
one
you're a
of
baron.
those.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have Conrad Rosscap, Doctor by day, Water Baron by night, collect
Yes.
water for the leaders.
Nice.
Great. Okay,
All right. So I guess that leaves me, huh?
that leaves you.
All right,
Bring
ladies and
Bring
gentlemen.
it, Gladys.
I think my boy's name is Tanner Cho. I'm the
Tanner
finest
Cho.
ice rider this side of Icarus.
I like
He-
it.
Yeah, we got
Hey.
an ice rider on the board. All
Love
right.
it. I think he's sort of a living legend, right? He's a big, like, he's very popular among the people. He loves Icarus. This is like his home. He's not really from any high class society. He doesn't know what that's about.
Love it.
But he has done well enough for himself that, unlike most ice riders, he is a freelancer.
Oh.
He
Wow.
works for the highest bidder. He doesn't work for no
Nice.
big company.
Oh. Hi, Charlie.
They come to me.
I love it.
And
good.
he has like kind of the people on his side, although he doesn't know what's going on. I'd say he ain't the sharpest knife in the drawer, but he's the best knife at ice riding.
What is his motive?
His motive is to preserve the city.
Interesting. Okay. He loves the city.
He loves Icarus. This is like the way things is great to him. And
Yeah.
he wants it to be this way. Like he's having a great time.
Amazing. Okay, great. That leaves us lastly with the pillar, the communication tower that we're building. We already sort of talked about that, so I'm just going to create an aspect for that based on what we talked about. But if anybody has, based on their character kind of stuff, anything else to add, we should do that now. Otherwise, it's just going to be a communications tower to talk to Earth.
Mm-hmm. Which is
Yeah.
the public face.
Well,
That's the
Yeah,
public
that's public
facing,
facing.
right?
Yeah.
that's what we're telling everyone.
There's a lot of people being put to work on this tower.
Yes.
And we're not like, and I think the idea of Earth being this better place that like, now, do we want to go to Earth? Do we just want to like show off and tell them how much better we're doing after they sent us here as a prison colony?
I think it will vary, right? Depending on depending on the people and the faction. There's probably some Earthers, right? There's probably
This is
some like
the idea of
Yeah.
us placing a flag like we are here
yeah,
is the cultural idea. When
yeah, right.
is it a distress beacon?
I also think it's extra insidious if we're using people, like if people are volunteering to help do this because they want to go home so badly, so we're using
yeah.
the free labor.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that's why we're telling everyone this big old lie,
Yeah.
so that we can hoard our money.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and given the technological level of, like, we have sort of futuristic tech, but all of it's kind of run down, right? It's all
Yeah,
old.
sure.
All derived
So-
from what got us here.
Right. So
Mhm.
like we have to build this massive tower, and we don't usually build things like that. Usually it's like, yeah, we can build a horse that runs on a motor and can sense direction, but like actually being able to communicate with something that far away is not
Mhm.
within our technological wheelhouse quite yet.
Right.
Mhm.
Like they're starting to take apart other pieces of infrastructure
Yeah.
and redirecting them. So
The-
it's like we
the-
used to have a museum.
Not anymore. Build the tower. It's so good.
Brian Shane.
We probably need a monorail at some point as well.
Yes. Wonderful. Okay, so we're all ready to go here. I'm going to seed our story by drawing a couple of cards from our story deck, from our first deck, just so everybody's aware of kind of how the game plays. Normally, when we play this game not on Roll20, you would have 3 decks of cards. The Cracks in Our Facade, which is the first era. There's the Rifts Between Us, which is the second era, and the Final Hours, which is the third era. And then there is a final card called the Bitter End that sits at the very end of the deck. You draw a number of cards from each of those individual decks and put them into a stack on the table. Instead, I'm just going to be drawing the correct number from them as we go. And we will start with the first era, the Cracks in Our Facade. So I'm going to seed our story by drawing 2 of these and placing them on the table. And I'm going to make them nice and big so we all can read them. So the first one is, interesting. An outside force has come to the city to negotiate a deal. Who are they and what do they want? So this is open for all of us.
Ooh. I feel like it should be the anti-ice riders. They're very much against ice riding.
Oh, interesting.
Well, it's just an outside force. Like, are these like
aliens?
Oh, Icarus wasn't the only colony ship that got sent to Mars.
Yes.
Maybe these.
Oh.
Maybe these
We'll
are
see,
the
right? There's 2.
right. Maybe it's the Sand Riders.
Sure.
Whatever. Do they have super sand?
Yes.
Because we got super water.
Maybe we are just on the side of the planet that has these glaciers and they don't have any water.
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
like
that's
that.
amazing.
Yes.
I love that.
Right.
Or something
Love
that
that.
build our structure.
Yeah.
So maybe they're trying to negotiate to get water, and they're offering to give us more supplies to build our
They have
communications.
tech. They have tech
They
that.
have communications tech.
Yeah. Okay. So an outside force has come to city to negotiate a deal. Who are they and what do they want? They are let's say they're the people from the Drylands.
Yes.
Right?
That's perfect.
Drylands. That
Yeah,
sounds
Dryland. I like that better.
Okay. People from the Drylands
Dry folk.
and dry folk.
Dry folk.
These
Have you heard about those dry folk?
Drinking our water.
Dry folk from the Drylands.
I hear they eat dirt.
Want glaciers and trading for what would we say for technology.
Tech. Yeah.
Great, I love it.
They still have a lot of untapped technology that they have not harvested for use in a giant tower.
Right. That they can
And-
trade for some water.
Our leaders
plenty.
love that. I think our people don't like the idea, but our leaders are actually parlaying.
Oh, see, I was thinking it was the
that's
other way
good.
around. Because
Yeah.
what if it's the other way around that they're totally, the people are like, great, then we'll have the communications tower, and we're like, no, we don't want to finish.
We're trying to
I
hide.
like
We're
your
trying
version
to.
better. I like your version better. Delete what I said.
Okay, so I'm gonna take this aspect and I'm gonna place it somewhere on the map that that makes sense for what we're doing, right? So this
Okay.
one's gonna go between the communication tower and the ice riders. So you'll sort of see how we'll create a mind map here as we go, right? Like we're gonna be putting these things on the table in certain areas that will relate to the stuff that's on them. And as we build further, we'll be able to change or delete or group certain things that make sense to go together. Okay, I'm going to draw the second card from our deck. A peaceful protest flares up in a public area of Icarus. What are they angry about?
Can it be related
Topical.
to the last
Totally. So here's the thing with the cards is we have the choice, right? If we want to continue down the one track that we're on and sort of play out a story that way as the cards come out, totally can. There's also validity to creating different problems in different areas of the city so that we all sort of have a reason to attack different spots. So that means it's up to you all. It's up to you all whether that is more interesting to tack on to what we already have, or if it's more interesting to go, hey, what if it was something to do with religion or education?
Yeah.
Right?
What if someone's dumped in for? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Jonathan.
I'm curious as to like if this protest has to do with like the Star Cult, which we haven't heard much about.
Right.
It's not a cult.
Yep. Okay. I could see that conflict happening.
I think absolutely. And some say they worship Smudge from the black hole.
So maybe it's the smudge worshippers.
Yes,
that are protesting the Star people.
I think so.
Awesome.
Oh, I like that.
Lasers are sacred to them.
No, yeah, I like that. If it's the star worshippers,
Yes,
protesting, the group that's worshiping the smudge.
yes,
Okay.
I like it.
So star worshippers protesting smudge.
Just can't hear the word smudge and not laugh.
I know.
What are they doing?
And then I guess the
so
violence
against.
erupts. Well, I guess the violence erupts because the smudge worshippers,
Yeah.
the black hole
Smudge went down to
worshippers,
Icarus.
actually believe that ultimately we should be sucked into the black hole and repent
Right.
for our sins.
Sure.
And so that erupts into violence because they're kind of like, look, we should all go anyway. And the
Yeah, it's sort of like a
peaceful.
yeah. We're like they're a death cult.
They are.
Yeah.
Basically,
They might
Yeah.
be the whole cause of our downfall.
Yeah,
it's
could be.
because maybe they also maybe one of the smudgers has started to put out the seeds of discontent because they've heard
Yes.
that our communications tower is not what it seems, and
Sure.
we gotta shut this whole colony down. We gotta
Yeah.
we gotta shut this whole colony down.
And everybody's calling them crazy, right? Because they're like
Right.
Really
Reporters are like, no,
conspiracy.
we don't all want to die. Nice try. Thanks.
Right.
Right. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna put down
Right.
Star worshippers protesting smudge about being a death cult.
Sure.
And I'm gonna play. Is everybody okay with that? Does that feel right for everybody?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I love it.
I do want to note too, you'll see we start to get into some topics here that can be topical for what's happening or that can be, difficult to engage with. If at any point anybody has like a content thing that comes up that they're like, hey, let's like move away from that. Feel free to, to bring it up here.
Sure.
But if you don't feel comfortable doing that for whatever reason, you'll see in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, there's an X. I will be watching that X during the game as the facilitator. If you go down there and hold your mouse down, you'll see it pings. Can everybody do that for me really quick?
Sure.
Just ping down there. Okay. If at any point something is uncomfortable and you want to change it, but you don't want to like vocalize it yourself, just go down there and ping it, and I will vocalize that we should address that. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Cool.
Nice.
Just a safety mechanic. We'll get into that way. We're able to get into stuff that's interesting and and maybe a little bit dark, while knowing that we have things on the table to not harm the other players.
I am suddenly having, not to interrupt the game.
That's
but
okay. What's up?
I'm suddenly having a mouse issue
Oh no.
where my mouse is not moving and I cannot type. So
Do you want to try reloading Roll20?
Was it your mouse itself?
Yeah. Well, I have a touch, like a pad.
Oh, a pad.
Oh, okay.
Which is for some reason not wanting to react right now. So I may have to tell somebody what
To do.
Yeah.
You can tell me. I'll take care of it. Don't stress. No stress. Okay, so we have our two pieces of the society that we've seeded. So now we begin our story. We're going to do the normal ritual that we will do throughout the whole game, which is that we're going to first start with actually in this round, we're going to start with a player who feels like their character has something on the board that they want to react to immediately. They want to change in some way. The rest of the rounds will happen in this same order that we go in currently. So then after that, right, after somebody has chosen what they want to address, everybody else will also address a thing and draw a card during their turn. And then we'll move into the resolution phase where we will roll the dice that are on the cards and see how they go. See how things turn out for us. Cool. Okay. So does anybody's character feel like they would immediately be after something? Yes.
I think that Sky would totally be going to this protest.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
This is her jam. So, and since she's like the leader of this, star temple, she would go and drag out her soapbox and protest, like lead the protest.
Absolutely. Okay. Let me put a dot.
She wants to control the narrative to the rest of the civilization, like to the rest of Icarus, that the smudgers are wrong.
Sure.
And so she wants to take control. I guess that's her mission here. A success would be she would want to take control
of the narrative.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll right before we roll, we'll sort of see how things play out, and if that changes, you're always welcome to change it. But that's a great first. Okay, we want to go. So our scene, right, in this movie that we're building together, in this TV show we're building together, is sort of the opening on Icarus, this Wild West futuristic frontier town, as we sweep through the building of this communications tower, and land on our character Sky, who is seeing this sort of protest erupting, right? And watching maybe as that happens and scheming. Is anybody else want to go next? Is there something? Oh, sorry. Actually, you need to draw a card. I'm sorry. I skipped your card phase. Let me do that really quick. Okay. So I'm going to draw a card for you, and then I can write down whatever you need since your mouse isn't working.
Yeah, I can touch because I have a touch screen, and that seems to be working. I just can't manipulate anything else.
Copy that. Okay. So if anything comes up in during the conversation and you don't want to vocalize it, just put an X in the chat for me, just so that we can.
Yeah, I can't do that. I'll just do this.
Okay. Okay. You'll just throw the hands up.
Okay.
Great. Hold on. Let me get rid of that one. That was our old one. And then let me make this. I had to shuffle them. Okay, great. So yours is: a valuable resource from outside the city has suddenly become much more expensive because of the limited quantity now available. What is it, and why is it now in scarcity?
So would it be wise for me to attach this to the tech that we are now trying to get it,
It kind of reads, right? That flows.
Yeah, totally. Totally. We're running out of tech.
Yeah.
Like, I think what specifically though are we missing, right? What piece of technology do they have? Like, is it, I'm almost thinking like
silicon.
Sure.
Silicon.
Okay.
Yep, sounds good to me.
Nothing radioactive or
not
dangerous.
silicone. Silicon.
Elisa, that works for you. You always have final say on the card that you're doing.
Yeah. I love it. I think that's where I was going. There needed to be something that was kind of connected to that if we were to do that. And I think that's just as great of a resource as any, especially what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Wonderful. So I'm going to copy and paste this here, and we're going to bring this up. So so there is a shortage of silicon in Icarus. And why
never
is it
touch the stuff?
and why is it now in scarcity? Have we just used all of it? Because
I think it's all going to the tower.
It's all
we've used as much as we possibly can, and we don't have
what we can.
And there's
what we can mine in our area, but it would be outside of our.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay, so I'm gonna put that near the tower for sure. Where else do we think that might go?
I would say maybe near education.
Sure. Yes.
Like
yes.
It could even be like silicon. Like, if you know what's going on, like silicon doesn't make sense for what we say the tower is for.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, it's part of the conspiracy.
Like, why do we need all this? Given
we don't need it.
Yeah. We don't actually need it for the proposed purpose.
Right. It's part of the artificial delays that we've been causing.
I think our communications tower is not a communications tower.
Getting an inkling.
I think it's a giant pew pew.
Shh.
Giant laser.
That's a technical term, you guys. I learned that in engineering school. Pew pew.
I love it.
Engineering term.
So good.
This is me when I don't drink.
Wait, we're allowed to drink on this?
Wait a minute.
I can't stop you. I'm not physically there.
Nice.
Okay, so we have that down. I've discarded that card. Now we're going to move to the next person who wants to address something. Is there somebody who
Alright.
feels like there's something on the board they
think-
want to?
I think, speaking as Tanner Cho,
Yes.
I have some concerns about these dry folk coming in and
Sure.
taking our hard-earned ice.
Oh, let me put this die above everything to front.
Mhm.
Okay, there you go. You can go ahead and place it now.
So, like, I think that I have some concerns about other folks taking what we rightly brought in.
Perfect.
I agree.
So I think in this movie that we're building, there's this we move from the, how are we mining silicon? Is it mines? Is it how, I don't even know how you get silicon. It's out of the ground, right?
I think it's being mined from the
Okay.
old ships.
Mhm.
Oh,
These old
interesting.
Yeah,
ships,
scavenged.
huge and
Scavenged.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Scavenged.
Yeah.
that,
So we
like,
get
you
this
have to dive into the old colony ships.
so cool. So we get this shot of these giant ships that have just like crashed, that are not even crash landed, but they've just deteriorated
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
sand and
those-
wind over time.
Those are what mountains are to us. right?
Yes. Oh, so cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we get some of these divers who are going in and pulling them out, and they're like, there's no more down there. Like, we can't pull any more out of there. There's no more. And they're like, no, you have to go back in and find some, or whatever that is.
Right. And
We're
they're
seeing
pulling
this as
out,
shortage.
like all sorts of like artifacts and stuff, but it's like junk, no silicon.
Yep.
no
Yep.
silicon.
Mhm,
Yep,
mhm,
exactly.
mhm.
And then we move over to Tanner Cho, who is watching as these dry folk come in, right?
Right. Like, I've been like managing these glaciers. Like, I brought in like, listen, I just brought in a big blue berg. That's iceberg for you common folk.
A bluebird, I love it.
And I'm being told that it's being sent across the sea to these dry folk. That is
So good.
unacceptable.
Okay, so
Can't
I
agree
think
more.
I think I have something for myself and the Baron to do when
We're
you're
gonna-
ready.
So
Great.
I get to get a new
We're
card.
gonna draw a card for you really quick. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I'm just keeping track of how many there are. Since we
I'm glad you're keeping track of anything because I'm just telling stories.
that's why I'm here. That's why I'm facilitating, so you all can tell stories. Okay, this is sort of an interesting just prompt culture one. What controversial part of the Icarus culture do other surrounding nations not agree with or share?
Ooh, interesting.
Well, when we say surrounding nations, I think all we've got is the dry folk, and I think they
Right.
don't have the same.
Well, this is for Jonathan. Just
Oh, I'm
this-
sorry. I'm sorry.
that's okay. That's okay.
Misunderstood.
These when these cards come out on your turn, you sort of get like the chance to add, and then if you don't know what to do, you can ask for help.
Okay.
Sorry, John.
That's okay. No problem. It's just the first time playing. No stress. No stress.
I think that, let's see. So we've got like barons. We've got this kind of very controlled education system. I think our system is like either very akin to like indentured servitude or like feudalism.
Mm.
Like, we actually
Mhm.
have a very stratified society.
Absolutely.
Like, and it's like, and to us, that's really important, right? You know your role, you know your place. Like, this is like, you have to be part of this, like, you know, the machine that is Icarus.
Yeah.
And like, you can build yourself up, and if you become like the best at what you do, like, I think, you can theoretically you can advance and be quite good, but it's like not a democracy, right? Like, this is
Sure.
done by a, like, I think people, there are people who are in charge, and that kind of feudal system runs at odds with like the dry folk, who I think probably have a much more democratic, much more
Mm.
kind of unified, like they're more
Yeah.
egalitarian.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, that seems like chaos to us,
Sure.
because like, we need ice riders, right? We need like
Uh-huh.
people to fall into their specific roles.
Yeah, people have their roles and they're supposed to fulfill them. And then, that probably comes, for whatever reason, from the prison system that we used to be a part of, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's sort of been passed down as our heritage of like, no, when you're in that system, you follow the rules of that system. You have a role in that system, and you're supposed to abide by it. And
I mean, we've got a big kind of education locking system. I think I almost think of it like almost like an SAT thing, right? Like, you get scored very early on on like what kind of aptitude you are, and that really decides a huge amount of your future, like disproportionately.
Interesting.
Some brave new world shit right there.
That is
That's
some brave.
right. Big
Yeah,
time.
it's some Black Mirror shit too.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so I'm gonna put that down here by education and probably by social structure, right in between those two.
Yeah.
That feels about right. Okay, wonderful. Let's have somebody else put a die on something that they want to change.
So I want to go visit the Baron and
Let's do
and,
that.
and have a little meeting with him, because we've got these sandfolk
Dry folk.
Dry folk.
dry folk, whatever, sandfolk,
Yeah,
dry
same.
folk, I don't know, meow meow,
Damn
whatever they are.
chap-lip bastards.
But I want us to find a way to get what we want from the dry folk,
Mm-hmm.
get the technology that we want from the dry folk, because Tanner is such a freaking like cult hero and whatever, and he's getting in the way of the people being behind us, getting what we want from the dry folk. I want us to figure out some way to lure him into helping us negotiate this deal and having him take the fall for when it happens.
Ooh.
And then we get the water
Yes.
that he normally brings in.
I love it.
And it keeps it keeps everything stratified, and we can continue on with our communications tower. You can have the water. I just need your help figuring out how to do this.
Yes.
Great. So what die do we want to? Where do we want to put the die in that case? What do we feel like we're changing?
I feel like I'm shortage of silicons. Nobody stratified. Meow 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 meow. Not Star
the
Whispers.
social stratification? Are you getting the silicon?
I think the dry folk situation.
Okay.
So you're actually
Dry folk came in from the drylands, want glaciers, and trading for technology. I want their technology, so I want to support
right. So
them.
I'm trying to stop them, and you're trying to put them in play.
Exactly.
Oh boy.
Interesting. Okay, so
That
So-
Abigail.
I
like
know.
that.
yeah,
Genius.
so
Did I
put that
just
on
do
the
that right?
opposite. Yeah, perfect. So
Oh my god, you guys got it right.
amazing.
Yay!
Something.
So that's going to be on the opposite side. So these are going to be contended roles. Basically, the way that will work is that whoever placed their die first will go first. The person who placed their die second will go second during resolution. And
Cool.
that will allow that second person to, if they succeed, undermine the work of that first person.
That's really cool.
So that is placed. We are going to draw another card. This is going to be our second to last card. Okay. Oh, we did that one
Aaron, what's your
already.
name again? Oh, Conrad. Oh, Conrad.
We did that one too. I don't know why it's not. I need to set up a
Is it just
discard
auto
thing on
shuffling
this.
the ones that you put back?
I guess, and it's never done that before. Just today, for whatever reason. A group is sent out to investigate a strange anomaly just beyond the border of the city. What did they see, and who is going to investigate? So, Charlie, this is
Ooh. This is me?
this is you.
Yeah.
This is Anjali? Okay.
Anjali, sorry.
So I send out, that's okay. It's not the first time, nor will it be the last. Pronounce it that way.
I'll
That's
get it.
totally
I
fine.
promise you by the end of the
But
stream,
how
I
would
will
you
get
know?
it.
You've only seen it written until today.
It's true. It's true.
Right. Totally fine. Okay. So a group is sent out to investigate a strange anomaly. Ha! Okay. So we've sent out people to survey the distance of this black hole from where we are, where our colony is, and we have actually discovered, information has come back that it is actually moving closer somehow to swallowing us. So we got to get this communications tower put together really, really, really soon.
So they saw the black hole coming closer.
They surveyed, like these are some of our greatest scientists, because I have the control of the education, which means I have control of all the smart people.
Yep. Totally. Okay.
So the smudge is growing in size and power.
Yes.
Oh boy. I mean,
there's a TikTok.
Yeah,
I love putting that ticking clock on. Okay, so smudge is moving closer to the planet. And who's doing this investigating? The scholars?
No, the like the civil engineers, the people who it would be our equivalent of. I guess it wouldn't be NASA because there's space.
There's like a
explorers, but it would be
specific
like
organization.
Yeah, like a specific organization that has surveying capabilities.
Got it. Okay.
But obviously also astronomical surveying capabilities.
Yeah, so maybe
So
this is like
that's why I said not NASA, but like bizarro NASA, evil
can
NASA.
we just call them
Evil
like
NASA.
the observers?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Call them the observers.
The observers.
That's
The
perfect. I
observers
like it.
are watching or are going to
Oh my
investigate.
God. The observers are watching sounds like a scary authoritarian poster that we post all over the place.
I mean, it is that kind of game. So
Sure is.
Observer as well.
sorry, what did you say?
Sky is
Say it again?
Observer as well.
One more time.
Sky. is
Sky.
definitely- Yeah, she's definitely anti-observer as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
probably.
totes.
Totally.
She thinks
Yeah.
they're totally-
Sky feels very egalitarian.
I mean, they're studying this like darkness.
right, and she thinks that they're linked. So, like, there's a conspiracy there, linked with the Smudgers for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, so what it sounds to me like,
Sure,
so the
getting
smudge
closer.
is probably what destroyed Earth,
Yes, I'm pretty
Possible.
positive.
right?
That
Like
is
100%.
exactly.
they did something, probably in one of them hadron colliders.
Yep. Created smudge. Created the smudge.
Right.
Okay, so the smudge is moving closer to the planet. That's what they've observed, or that's what they've discovered, and the observers are going to investigate. So the idea here is that there is somebody who is being, that there is a group that is, going out to investigate this anomaly. So maybe they've had to move past the borders of the city to like get a
Mhm.
better view of
Mhm.
this thing. They've been sent out into the dry lands to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Great. I'm putting that between education and religion.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That feel right?
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
that feels really good.
Okay, great. We have one die left.
Yes.
Get
What do you
it,
want to do with
Baron.
it?
Sure do, Miss
I-
Doc
you know-
Rosscat.
I'm gonna explore the super water a little bit.
Okay.
Yep.
In what way? What do you want to change about that?
I feel like there might be something wrong with it.
Ooh, okay.
And it might be related to
Ooh.
the smudge.
Ooh, okay. Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds great. That sounds like a great investigation.
Yeah. So I've noticed that there seems to be in the super water some streaks of black.
Ooh,
So
that's not good.
yeah.
Okay, so we'll investigate that. When we get to the resolution round, I pulled out a card for us. An
Yes.
existing weakness or problem has started to affect another aspect in the city.
Right.
What
Which
major
is the
issue? Yeah,
which is the super water. It's starting to affect
Or
I
not
love
only-
it.
the smudge is not only getting closer, but it's so great, gaining in power that the water, our super water, is being affected
it's
now.
affecting this water.
Great.
Does
Square
it
bottles a day.
does it do something? Does it do something to
Yes.
people when they
So-
drink it? Then, like, do
yeah,
we get
so
all
we've-
like bird box? What happens?
Yeah, so we've been trying to keep it under wraps, but there's like a few select people that are showing signs of mutating, and we're trying to keep them hidden.
Oh man.
It's
That's because not enough of you are outside praising the stars and harnessing the power to put them in.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's what I say behind closed doors. Absolutely. You're so right.
Okay.
I love it. Okay, so we've put all of our dice down. Now we're gonna resolve. So
Go wrong.
the first thing that we're gonna do is, normally if we were playing in the physical game, we would add a die to the tower to signify the passing of time. Instead, I'm just gonna take this D4, I'm gonna roll it, and we're gonna see what number we mark off on our sheet. So stand by. That is a 2. So a 2 is
Ooh.
marked off. Again, when any of these columns fill, our civilization will come
Falls.
to a close. Yes,
That
the
ain't never
civilization will
gonna
fall.
happen.
the dreaded smudge.
Um,
Peter Kill, I'm an optimist.
Cut to 3 a.m.
yeah, right. You should see, there are some there. I wasn't there for it, but somebody sent me a picture. I think it was Alex from Hunter sent me a picture of a game that happened at a convention, and they stacked their tower like like so. It's the
That's
most I've
amazing.
ever seen. It was
God.
wild. I could not believe how high they got it. They ended up like adding extra dice on top, like their own personal dice. We've never gotten it that high before.
That's
so
awesome.
it happens. There are sometimes long games.
Group
I
are
love it.
those people who like go to like parks and stack rocks very
Yes.
carefully.
The
That's what it
whole
is.
Yeah, it's
group
like
is
a
like
cairn.
that. The whole group is like that. Yeah, that's what you'd have to do because one person can cause it to be off to the side, and it can cause it to be like off kilter, and then the whole thing can fall. Anyway, let's do a resolution phase. So
Okay.
who's the first person to go this round?
That was Sky, I believe.
Sky. Yeah.
Sky,
Yeah,
great.
exactly.
Sky, and what were you addressing?
I was addressing the protest.
Great. Okay, so the prompt here is Star Worshippers protesting Smudge about being a death cult. What would success look like for you
I
here?
think my success has slightly changed now that these other things have come out a little
Sure.
bit. So I think my goal is that our protest is that now that we know that some of the superwater is being affected weirdly, we are protesting the fact that not enough people are trying to praise the stars, and the stars are what supercharges the water.
Yeah.
And we are trying to get everybody to stop focusing on Smudge and start focusing on the stars so that our water is here. Because
I love it.
That's so good.
It's so good. Okay, so do you have a die that you want to roll, or do you want me to roll?
I'm a terrible die roller. I do have dice right
I
here.
mean, that makes me think you should roll.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
So you
Abigail
have
wants you
so
to
you have
roll.
one die on a 1, 2, 3, or 4. It's a failure. On a 5 or 6, it's a success.
Okay. I did roll a 5.
Yes, good.
Yay.
So
Great.
that's good.
You.
Yeah,
I can't
so that's
believe it. That's pretty surprising, actually.
so that's a success. So what that means is you get to modify, add an aspect or modify an aspect to reflect how that was positive, how that was a positive outcome for you. So describe for me how this scene plays out and what you want to see change here specifically that we can add.
Well, Sky, gets up on her soapbox and she's like, "People of Icarus, it is necessary more than ever for you to believe in the stars." And she flashes her star symbols and whatever.
Love it.
All join together in a peaceful worship of the stars and hold hands across Icarus to praise the stars so their power will go into the super water.
Wow.
I don't know what I can
That was
modify.
exciting. That was her star power.
That
I
was
don't know
Wow,
it.
who
That was
that
crazy
but
power. That was
some
amazing.
Crazy pants.
So,
That was some
everybody
crazy
unites
pants shit.
hands, and so I don't know. Can we make it not affect the Smudge anymore? Or is that still on the table because somebody's trying to?
So we can do whatever we want story wise. It's most interesting to us, right? That's kind of your call. So if it's interesting for it to affect them in a way that dissipates that threat, we can. That would be a conversation you'd have to have amongst each other to make sure that's somewhere you're interested in
Right. I
exploring.
mean, how
That
does
makes
that affect what
super
you
good sense.
want to be doing?
What if it's that they actually are a way to affect the folks that are mutating already?
So that heals them already?
Yeah, something like that. But they're not quite right when they come back.
Okay.
Just trying to heal mutate.
So it is actually, so this legit, your star power business legit has star power. This
Right.
isn't just hoodoo voodoo.
Oh yeah.
We're
I
actually
mean,
seeing results of you getting everybody together to kumbaya star power.
Well, originally it did say the reason why my religion took on this nature is because it said that there is a supernatural power.
Right.
So
Right.
Yeah.
this. So
Dope. I
evil
love
and
it.
good
So
is stars versus Smudge, right? In this universe.
Yes.
So if we can influence the supernatural power of the stars more than the
Yeah.
Smudge, we'll have super water and not the destruction of Icarus.
Great. So the Star Worshippers, I'm gonna just make this a little bit bigger because it's pretty small. The Star Worshippers heal the mutated. Is that feel right?
Yeah.
For what we talked
Feels
about?
right, and I
Mhm.
think it maybe in doing so convinces more people to stop. Hopefully, to stop worshiping Smudge.
Got it. Okay. So Star Worshippers heal the mutated, convert
Smudgers.
Mhm.
smudgers.
Yeah.
It's
Nice.
such a terrible name.
It is.
Like,
I
who
did
does
not
their PR? I don't know who does who does the Smudges marketing. They gotta be fired.
You think they could have? You think they could have threw a couple more things up on the whiteboard before they went
I mean,
with
like,
that?
Right,
was,
you know.
was Smudge an acronym? That must be what it is.
I love it. Okay, great. So that is there. That is that result. Let's jump to who is next?
I think it was me.
Jonathan,
Yep.
yeah.
Great,
was.
Jonathan. So what was your goal here?
So they're trying to give our glaciers to these dry folk. And
Sure.
that is unacceptable. I'm going to march straight up to Doc Rosscap's office, and I'm going to tell him what for.
Great.
These dry folk want any glaciers of their own? They best come out here and ride some ice with us. They'll see how hard it is.
That's right.
Like, I think ice riders should have a say in where their glaciers go when they bring in a glacier. Like, when they bring in a catch, they should get a cut of it, and also be allowed to say like who gets to buy it. And these dry folk ain't getting it.
So you're trying to put in bureaucratic like walls to get through before the glaciers can be sold off.
Like, yeah,
essentially,
I'm trying to give
you're trying to get royalties.
I'm trying to give the ice riders more control over their catches.
They're unionizing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Specialized skill. Not everybody can do it, so they should
it's
have.
true. It's true. And like, we really do dislike these dry folk.
Yes. They are the
Apparently-
worst.
I have no stake in the silicon and like the technology that we're trading for. Like,
Right.
I think Tanner is just a little like, he's a little xenophobic. He's just like, it's all right.
Sure.
This is
Sure.
our water. This is our super water.
Yeah. Don't take it from us.
Right.
Okay, so go ahead and roll one die to see how that goes. While you're doing that, two things. First, Grendel82 in the chat was apparently one of the high stackers. So we are
Ooh.
joined by an MVP.
So
Nice.
cool,
Icarus.
Grendel.
Nice.
So,
I'm thrilled.
so glad
Also,
you're here.
love your screen name.
Yeah, very
that's a
good.
great screen name.
Secondly, also somebody in the chat has a dog named Smudges. So don't be too mean to Smudges, or that the dog will think we're talking to. In fact,
we got a 2.
we got it too. Great. Okay, so I'm gonna mark another
Yeah.
2.
Yep.
You're not
Oh, boy.
convincing us.
And then-
Tanner.
And then I want you to describe for me how this goes wrong for you. How does the problem escalate because of what you've done?
I think so Tanner sort of comes out and like makes these very aggressive big statements about like kind of the rights of the ice riders and like what they should get. And I think at the end of the day, he sort of really finds out the limits of his actual influence.
Oh,
Like,
interesting.
he's been thinking he's hot shit, right? Like, he's Tanner fucking Cho. Turns out bureaucracy and the government has more say in these things than he does.
Yeah.
Surprising.
He's Tanner, not so fucking Cho.
That's right.
That's right.
Turns out, and so he kind of gets told to sit down in a way that is and I think he had garnered so much support among the ice riders
Sure.
that like they are now unsettled, right? They are now
Right.
no longer they're no longer as loyal to the status quo as they had been before.
Yep.
And they still got to bring in the ice. They still got to and now it's being sent somewhere they don't want, and they are unhappy. They're still doing it. Tanner's still doing his job. It's all he can do. It's all he knows how to do. But he's shine's rubbing off it a little bit,
Yep. Totally. So I am putting publicly embarrassed and
Yes.
or I should put Tanner.
Yeah.
Publicly embarrassed and ice riders
I feel
Yeah,
like
are unsettled.
Tanner has probably lost some of his sponsorship as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was.
You know?
Yeah, he was a freelancer. Now he's kind of starting to have to take cheaper deals, kind of knuckle under a little more.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's basically been told to sit down.
Yep.
Yeah, and we're getting the phone call from the brand like, hey, really sorry we have to do this, but we gotta let you go.
Yeah.
That was really
Well, this just
embarrassing for
plays-
us.
It's just not working out
This just
anymore.
plays so well. Plays so well for Abigail.
And now
I feel like I was in
But
that
get
room
ready
when you were
because you
trying
were.
to
now
tell.
have a chance to mess up
when-
your end of the deal.
Oh no, absolutely. Like when he was trying to tell those bureaucrats, I'm like, do you mean you're not in favor of the people actually being able to communicate with Earth? because we need this deal in order to be able to finish our communications tower. People have been volunteering their labor for years now to build this communications tower, and you're saying you're not in favor of that? Interesting.
Listen,
A man of the people?
Listen here, this ain't about no super tower. This is about some super agua that we got. And it's ours.
Let's see how well that goes over with the people.
Great. You want to go ahead and roll? See how that goes?
Hang on. Let me grab some dice.
I would say I have a die if you want, but yes,
Like
you might as well grab one.
Well, I really like. Yeah, no. Let me grab something. Hold for
Might
talent.
as well. Hold for talent.
Hold for talent.
Hold for talent.
In the meantime, we're getting close to finishing this first round. Let me check what our time is like.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we still have a little bit of time before our break, so we'll probably get through the next kind of half round before we resolve, and then we'll probably take a break. Does that work for everybody?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay, great. And JB, just let me know
Alright,
when if we need to trigger it earlier or whatever.
Go ahead, roll it.
Go ahead and roll the dice. Is it a 2?
This is a 1.
Okay. And 1 is actually it's still a failure, but it's better than getting a 2 because then we would have added another number to
true. That's true.
So don't feel too bad.
Right.
But you don't get what you want. Why does it escalate the problem that was, or why does it escalate the situation?
Despite my attempts to make him the fall guy, now everybody doesn't trust either of us because
This is true.
People are just getting a sense that he is speaking as from capitalistic rather than
we're
caring
getting
about
into
the whole.
there is now like an actual schism in society falling across these lines.
Yes, exactly. That they don't trust the leaders and they don't trust you, and nobody knows who to trust. Because I was so. Oh, fair point. Shh, be quiet. Be quiet. You're on your soapbox, Star Lady.
That's right, Star Lady.
But yeah, no, that's a fantastic way. That's actually a fantastic way because she was able to put down, while all this was going on, was able to put down the insurrection or whatever was going on, the violent protests that were going on. She was such a counter. It was so opposite of what people were seeing about the infighting that was going on with the bureaucracy and Tanner that people are now turning their focus to her, which is the last place I want them paying attention because I want them believing in me. So I get what I want.
Right. The Star Druids are like a unifying force where you and I are actually butting heads.
Yes, exactly. We're just butting heads, and people.
I
suspect people mostly listened to the leaders out of a combination of fear and hope that they could get back home.
Yeah.
And she's providing them hope for the future.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I think Tanner's folk, like the salt of the Mars will say.
Salt of the Mars.
I think
I almost snorted that coffee up my freaking nose.
Good.
We like the way Icarus is, right? Like we don't think we need to talk to Earth. Like we have our super water, we have our society, it's working great for us. Like really, this is a waste of public funds building this tower.
Yeah.
And so that's one side, and the other side is like has this hope for like this communications tower for this apotheosis of culture, and then we've got the Star Druids who are like, everyone chill the fuck out.
Apparently, chat trusts the Star Cult and they want to be Star Druids. So you got this. You got the Star
awesome.
the chat on your side right now. I love it. Okay, so
look at that face. Look at that face. She was like.
Of course.
So we have one more to go.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, so let's resolve this one.
All right. So am I rolling a d6?
Yeah, go ahead and roll a d6 for me.
Right. 2.
A 2. Oh man. All right, we're getting closer. That's okay. We still have 2 more left.
I'm an idiot.
So I
didn't look at this die. This die only goes from 1 to 3.
We'll
work out.
I feel like you should be able to re-roll. Who does have I don't understand what that is.
Why do you have that?
It's a D3.
Do you roll it twice?
Stuff here. I'm a genius.
That's amazing. That's so funny.
Well, you did say Tanner wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer.
He's only got a die that goes from 1 to 3.
It's
Yep.
only true to character.
Yep.
It's his Tanner die.
Yep.
It's his Tanner die.
I love it. Okay, so that is a failure.
Okay.
Which means that you don't get what you want, and it somehow escalates the problem. So the Star Worshippers have luckily started to heal the mutated and convert the smudgers. But what's
sad
happening?
thing is that I think we may have used, or at least the super water has been fully contaminated at this point. And even though people are still drinking it, they're not listening to the fact that I'm telling them the science says this water is no longer good for us.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
It's super terrifying.
Water.
Way.
Something is wrong with the water.
I mean, Guy would not say that, but
is fully contaminated.
I mean, this sounds to me like society is now becoming more and more reliant on the Star Worshippers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like
Yeah.
it.
You know, this water.
Well, and this is all the more reason I want to give away the freaking glacier water to the sand people because we know it's contaminated. They don't.
I like this.
Amazing.
Like, give me my silicone so I can make my pew pew.
Oh,
see, when I brought in this big black glacier, I just thought it was
take your 3-part dice and go, Tanner.
Wonderful. Okay, so now we start back where we were before. We are going to start in the new deck.
Okay.
This time around. So we'll start again at the beginning, at the top of initiative, as one might say. We're gonna jump back to Elisa, if you want to go first and take a die, or I can take a die and put it on something that your character is interested in affecting here.
well, now that we know or we're hearing that the super water is fully contaminated, is it boring for me to just keep trying to cure this stuff? I feel like it kind of is.
So yeah, I mean, you're going down the same path is definitely something you can do. Story-wise, sometimes when we hit on something 2 or 3 times, we find the cool turn that we didn't before. So there's always that option of like, if I fail, what comes out of this thing that I didn't expect. So you're welcome to, if you as a player
still do, like, from everything that's on the board as it stands.
Yeah. What's your motive?
My motive is that I'm trying to protect the citizens. So that
Great.
is fine with what I'm
So
trying
maybe
to do.
you want to go to the source of the.
Yeah. What about the
glacier.
smudge with the observers and all that shit?
Yes.
If you can fix the glaciers at the source, that might be able to.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, where's the
What thing is that?
So
The super water is fully contaminated.
You know what might be interesting is that, and I'll pitch it, and we don't have to do it. But if that journey towards the smudge is not the direction of the drylands, it's actually a journey through the glacier, like through the waters, right? So like maybe you are going out to the source, and the glaciers are sort of getting that smudge from. Or getting the contamination from the smudge, and so maybe you're headed out there to investigate yourself, to try and hold some sort of ritual or something.
Yeah.
You know,
I would want to try to get rid of the smudge if I can. Otherwise, just try to heal the water. But
Great.
yeah, going to the source is the better part. So I'll go to where the observers are and try and use my star power to end the smudge.
To end the smudge.
Great. I love it.
I like it a lot.
Over conspiracy.
Chat says that the acronym SMUDGE is superbly mutton chopped unknown dark godly entity.
Also known as Ivan Van Norman. Yes.
Ivan is the smudge.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Chat, you are all geniuses. You
Epic.
are all genius. You
So
were so
good.
meant for greatness.
It was so good.
Okay, so I'm gonna put a thing down here that says what would it be? That the Sky, are you going alone, or are you bringing some people to do this?
I'll bring some of my,
Okay.
constituents or whatever you would call them in a.
So Star Druids
It's a cult.
Council of Elders.
You're not a cult. We are helping everybody. For real.
Your Council of Elders, perhaps? Do you have
Right.
a Council of Elders or something?
So so you're investigating. So we'll say that the Oh, so you're just putting a die down on something. I apologize. So you're going to put your die down on probably super water is fully contaminated?
Either that or the
Or
No,
Smudge is moving
down
closer.
in the
The
corner. At the
observers.
corner.
Oh,
Smudge is
the-
moving closer to the
Yeah.
There it
the
is. Yep,
observers.
that is
Yeah.
absolutely the right call. Let me
Yeah.
send this to the back. Oh, no,
She's
not that
going.
way.
She's going big, dude. She's like, let me skip over the effect and go straight to the cause.
I love it.
citizens, right?
Yeah, no, that's totally the right call, and that's the cool thing about.
You're so noble.
That's the interesting thing about the narratives here is that like that could be resolved next round, and then the smudge is gone, and then we have this conversation of like, what does that mean for our society, right? Or it could get worse,
Yeah.
and then that's again
Worse.
another question. Okay, so we put a die there. I'm going to draw a card for us. This one says. The expansion of the city has started to encroach upon another nation's land, sparking a battle over territory. Who is the other party in this war, and what are they doing to keep our forces from moving in further?
Ooh, well,
It's gotta be the sand folk.
it's got to be the dry folk, the sand people. Yeah.
Dry folk.
So,
Dry folk, sand
so
folk. I should. really
Elisa,
learn the
what do
names.
you think is the what do you think is the you want to do the sand folk? Do we want to or the dry folk? Do we want to play with a different
I mean,
A
I
different-
think
There
that
could be a
dry
third
folk
colony
is already
True.
something that we are dealing with, so it makes a lot of sense.
Cool.
And we haven't been able to resolve it, so maybe we can,
Use that.
resolve it in a different way. Yeah. So maybe they are so upset that these negotiations have broken down that now they're saying, well, your glacier area is actually within our borders. We've just been letting you do this whole time, and they're gonna try and fight for it.
Yeah. So what are they? I love that. What are they doing to try and keep the forces from moving in further? What specifically do you think?
I think maybe they're going to start setting up, like they probably have a lot more people than we do. I don't know. I'm going to assume that they were sent up before us.
Oh,
if
okay. Yeah.
they have
I
better
like that.
and everything. I'm going to think that they were setting up before us and maybe just like start getting all of the tech and mining and everything so that we would have the materials available to us or our ancestors when they started building the prison.
Sure.
And so they probably have a lot more people now than we do after a couple hundred years of reproduction. So I think they're sending out forces to start guarding the area of where we can get into to get to the glaciers.
Yeah.
The dry folk are setting up.
So they're blocking
forces.
access to the glaciers.
Yeah.
They're blockading.
It's gonna mess me up later because I need to get over there.
Yeah, the dry folk are setting up
Mm.
forces to block access to the glaciers. That is happening, and I'm putting it probably between probably social structure and health, maybe, because that feels like it's
Yeah. We don't have a military pillar, so
no. Okay,
Not for long.
probably we're all descendants of criminals, but
sure. I mean, look, here's the thing: is like when there's not something on the board that says that we do, like we can make.
It's gonna go across. Like, yeah, we have
Yeah.
space.
We can make the decision of what
Right.
of what we want to do there. Okay, great. So that is done. Let's go ahead and put a die on the next one. Jonathan, I think you're next. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this sounds like so Tanner, after having a difficult time with this whole situation, and still with this huge chip on his shoulder about these dry folk, I think he's building up a posse and going for some rough riding.
Oh
I
yeah.
think he's joining, like he is joining and or starting a military force
Like
that is
converting
fighting this war. for
like
the-
the ice riders are becoming sort of a militarized force.
Yeah, I think the ice riders like together are like kind of coming together to like. I think these glaciers are like the Alamo to them, you know, like.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
he's going in for a fight. Like,
that's really great.
Maybe it's a good use for the infected. Send them out first to attack.
Yep. Yep. Okay. I'm
yeah,
gonna
I
draw
think,
you
like,
a
they're using
card.
their, you know, whatever machine or power they use to herd these glaciers, like in this combat situation. Like, this is
Yeah.
their territory, right? So,
Yeah.
let's see.
That's great. Okay, so your card is the environment surrounding Icarus has become damaged or sickened some way. What has caused this environmental degradation, and how has a specific part of the city been adversely affected by it?
Ooh, okay. here's what I'm thinking. Is something we haven't talked about yet much is the silicon, right? This like big deal with this silicon structure. I think one of the old ships, right, that we're mining this resource from, there's been a containment breach in it. And
Ooh.
it's slowly becoming more radioactive.
Yeah.
Like radiation is spreading, and like miners are getting sick. Like people, like it is like there's sort of this internal like problem in it that is making it more difficult and is going to be adversely affecting the construction of the tower in particular. Like you were already, losing resources from this dry folk situation, and now the mines now the mines are actively hazardous.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. I love that. So let me just copy this, paste it into here. So that's going to be, what's like one line to sum that up, do you think? Or two?
I think like the mines are becoming radioactive. I don't know. The mines are becoming reactor breach in the mines.
Oh, yeah, that's good. So reactor breach in the mines is is spreading contamination.
Yeah.
The super water we use contamination for, so maybe it's spreading like, what would we call that? Spreading like
what if it's not? What if it's not poison? Like I think we're probably all fine on radiation. We've lived on Mars for hundreds of years.
True.
It's just heat.
Ooh,
I like that. It's getting hotter.
It's just going.
Yeah,
that's good. That's good.
Is increasing temperatures on surface. Great, I love it. It's terrifying. Okay, that is good. Let me just do that. Next, I think, Anjali, I think you're next.
Oh boy.
What do you want to put your die on?
That is such a good question. Because there is so much going on. Okay.
Yeah, right?
My motive is still get rich. I want whatever wealth there is available to be mine. I know that everything is contaminated, so I don't actually want the silicon. I don't actually want the water. What I actually want is this communications tower to go up. But why? What is the reason?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm gonna go full. I'm gonna. What if that communications tower, what we're actually building, is a teleporter to another planet that we have, that our surveyors, our observers.
Oh yeah.
Our observers have managed to see, and no one else knows about, and that's what the hidden big secret is. That the communications tower is not actually to get us all back to Earth; it's to get the elite off planet to
this gate,
this other world before the smut
shows up. Yeah.
Or Ivan Van Serman.
Yes. I love it. I love it. That's so good. So, so your goal is to sort of like
So my overall, okay, so that's just I'm sorry, I just had to clarify.
That's okay. No, that's part of this game. Is like,
yeah, that's really good. That's really good.
What do I need more supplies. I need the sand folk situation to work. I need to get the glacier water to the sand folk. So whether it's affected or not. So I'm going back to the Baron, who has become the water Baron. And I'm saying, I don't care if it kills all of the dry folk. We need to take your water stores, all of the water you've got. We need to give it to them because we can't get these ice riders to pay attention to us. Tanner's got them all riled up and trying to turn them into a military force. We got to just throw every resource we have into getting that silicon and getting that tower finished before all of this blows up in our face, because that smudge is coming. That rising military is coming. Star Lady is coming. Everybody's coming for us. I just want to get off planet.
Want to get off, right?
Yeah. I want to get off planet.
Amazing.
Seems like it's shortage of silicon is the thing you're actually prioritizing.
Yeah, either shortage of silicon or dry folk from the dry lands coming in.
Great. Yeah. So which one would be the change that we'd be making? It probably would be
I think
shortage of
silicon.
Yeah,
right?
Shortage
you're
of silicon.
right,
Yeah.
Okay.
Have the
Yeah.
shortage.
Okay. Great. So that is going.
So evil, you guys.
That's when you get the get rich card. It's like you can be the most evil character you've ever played, and it's super on brand. So like,
But also, there are rich people in the world doing good with it.
it's true. It's true. It gives you the permission to do it.
Mhm.
To think that all rich people are evil. It's a game, guys. It's
Uh,
a game.
Great, Mark. Let's jump to
Yep.
you.
So
Sorry,
I
no, we
think-
need to do a card. We need to do a card for.
Oh yeah, we do.
Constantly.
Boy.
So this one, sorry, I almost skipped you.
No,
An
no.
important part of the city has been quarantined. Where is it? What
Mm.
caused it? And how have they kept the quarantined citizens there from leaving?
It's the part of the city where the radioactive materials are, because
Mm.
it's starting to affect people, and we don't want it to affect people. We don't want that information to get out, so we have literally pinned them in the ships.
Oh Jesus!
Jesus. Okay, so
Let them
Yes.
die from radiation.
So like
poisoning.
the miners and
Chat,
stuff. will-
you all should hate me by now. I hate me. I
good,
feel
good.
like a bad person.
So,
I mean,
So-
Tanner already knows that Abigail's a snake. He didn't know
That's
she
right.
was this bad though.
Snake is a pretty nice word for what she is. At the moment.
so silicone is completely out. Basically, like we can't get any more of it because we've locked the mines away.
Right, but
Right.
we've actually actively also locked a bunch of people, quarantined a bunch of people in those ships, and the rest of the world doesn't know it. The rest of
Yeah.
our camp doesn't know it. We have been just basically trapped in it.
Yep, people have been
I'm gonna
trapped
cry after
in
this.
shit.
Great.
Silicon is gone. I'm just gonna say is gone. Mines have been quarantined, and people have been trapped in ships. Terrifying.
So
Thank you for that.
I'm gonna make myself cry. Okay.
Great. We have one last die, Mark. What do you want to throw
Well,
that?
I think my motivation is to protect the leaders, so I have to
Sure.
be on Abigail's side. We got to get off this planet as fast as possible.
Sure.
Please.
So you're gonna join her.
Yep, gonna join her.
Oh wow.
Amazing. Okay, we got
Yep.
2-on-1. That's awesome. I'm gonna draw another card for us. This one says, a subculture within the community has recently gained political prominence and has begun to actively oppress another group in the city. Who is this new oppressor and who is being oppressed?
Well, I think it has to be the Smudgers are oppressing the star.
Didn't the Smudgers lose the?
Did they lose?
Lost, yeah. What
That's
about
true.
A lot of people are now on
Tanner's military duders?
Yeah, it has to be them then. Absolutely, I think so.
So
They have to
the,
be rising up to oppress the and kind of take over the city, really, in essence.
A coup.
Because a big coup. It's like, no, you guys are doing it all wrong.
that's the Ice Riders.
Rider
Yeah.
military.
The Ice
Oh,
Rider
oh,
military.
The
man.
Ice Rider military.
Ice
We-
Riders is
we
coming
know
up.
we know what's up, and we are gonna fix things.
Great. Okay, so the Ice Riders have taken over the city's safety, right?
Safety.
And are what would it be?
Well,
And are
they're threatening. They're threatening a coup. They're threatening.
Yeah,
safety.
a coup.
They're
It's
threatening-
really that.
Okay.
It's that, yeah.
cool and are threatening a coup.
Yep.
Run away!
Great. I'm gonna put this up here, maybe over here, and I'm gonna shrink that down a little bit. Okay,
That's
so
really good. That's really good.
that is gonna put us at our break. So we're gonna take a couple minutes here. Go get some water, stretch your legs, and we'll be right back, and we'll finish our game of Icarus. We'll see you in a few.
Good.
And welcome back to Icarus. We are in the middle of an incredible downfall. It is already a mess. We've already taken it there.
It is such a mess.
It's such a mess. In the best way possible. We just finished doing our initial round, our drawing cards, putting dice on aspects. So now we're going to continue. We're going to do our resolution round, and just a warning for everybody. we only have two spots left. So hopefully we'll roll some 3s and 4s, or this thing's gonna fall pretty early. Yeah. So just be warned that
this is gonna fall
it's
now.
very possible it's gonna
Right.
fall now. In which case we will do our epilogue and we'll have a conversation afterwards. But
Yeah, it'd be good.
but yeah, that's sort of
Icarus
that's how
has
Icarus
lasted
is played.
forever.
Yeah.
Tanner chose an optimist.
Yeah. I love it. Okay,
So
let's start. Lisa, let's start with you because you put a die down first. Remind me what you put it on.
I put it on the smudge.
That's right.
Yeah, the observers.
The
Going
observer.
into the observer conspiracy.
Great.
Such a good one.
So I'm gonna have you go ahead and roll a or describe for me what success would look like here, and then roll your d6.
Well, I don't want to like shoot for the stars. But I would say that a success for me on this one would be that I identify the smudge, like I can actually see it for the first time, like really see it, and I can identify how to convert star power to defeat it.
Oh, cool. I love that. Yeah, that's really good. Okay, go ahead and roll your d6 and see what happens.
Okay.
No twos.
Oh my god, you guys, it's a 2.
Oh.
This is awesome.
And so,
and
Die rolling. Oh my god.
all right, we're marking
So good.
the 2. Now, I actually didn't do it. I need to do it right now. You're supposed to add a die to the tower, so I'm now going to roll this,
25% chance, game over.
Oh,
and we're going to see what happens because we're adding a die to the tower. Here we go. Ah, it fell. Oh no, the suspense is killing me. Okay, hold on. That is a 3. We're
Yes.
okay. We're okay. I'm going to mark it.
that's good.
Okay, so how does this actually end up escalating the situation? You don't get what you want, but something happens. How does it escalate?
I mean, since that was such a fatal roll, I'm gonna make it bad guy. Sorry. So the smudge is actually like it is a supernatural thing. It's
Oh man.
manifested as a black hole, but it like zeroes in on us. Like
Oh,
doing
dark
what
net.
now? And it grows even larger and it starts like taking out stars with it. Like,
oh no.
Oh man! So we just get that shot of like the stars going out.
yeah, like we're watching like all of like not all, but many stars have now just been gobbled up by the smudge.
The
And that's our
smudge.
source of power.
Wow, wild.
There's witness to this.
It's pretty awesome.
Chad is blaming John's loaded die, which I.
You know,
Those are 2s that should not have been, but
turns out
Okay, so let's change that to be to reflect that. So you were doing it was down here, and then smudge is moving closer. Okay, I'm gonna make a new aspect because that feels like it's right for this sort of monumental moment. And it's gonna say that the smudge increases, or the smudge grows
and is eating stars.
in
Yes.
size and is
Boom.
now
Stars.
consuming
Is now
stars.
the ultimate power in the universe.
It's the worst thing ever that could happen.
Terrifying. Okay, the smudge grows in size and is now consuming stars. Our source of power.
the dark.
Our source of power. Great. I love that it's throwing us into darkness.
Yes.
Very metaphorical,
As the smudge
Um,
would do.
as the smudge would do. That's what the smudge, the death cult, that's
Their
their
bumper
slogan.
stickers on the
Uh-huh.
back of their horses.
as the smudge would do. Very good. Okay, let's move on to
We're at
who's
war.
next?
All right.
Oh, Jonathan.
Time for me to, I have a real die this time.
Yes.
Great. Okay.
It does still have a 2 though.
Oh man.
6, correct?
You should get one freebie for that.
We'll see. So yeah, I think Tanner's going to war.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think him and his ice riders, like we're using our glacier wrangling, we're throwing down, right?
Throwing down. And success here would be that the blockade no longer exists. Is that what it would be?
Success here, I think.
Sure.
I think we pillage the dry folk.
Oh, okay.
We hit them back, right?
Okay.
Like success here isn't just getting out; it's hitting them back.
Yeah,
I love
like
it.
Revenge.
Let's do it.
Because he blames them for all this. He doesn't blame, like, Doc Rosscap's on our side.
Right.
Oh, you! I thought they were coming for me. You do whatever you want to
We'll
do.
see.
All right, roll that die.
Well, six.
It is a 5.
Oh,
Ah, yes. Good.
good.
Wow. Okay, good. So you succeeded there.
That
So
was good.
I'm gonna
Like,
move this.
stopped, like, it, like, caught itself on the edge of my laptop and this thing.
Nice rolling, John.
Great. So so I'm gonna move that die there, and then I'm going to modify the us at war, right? The dry folk are set amp forces to block access to the glaciers. Instead, this is gonna be ice riders destroy their defenses.
I think the Ice Riders have punched through and we've just raided the dry folk. Like, we're taking it all.
Okay, and raided their supplies.
Yeah. And I think, like, we've taken some silicon, but
It's yours.
it's ours, right? It's the Riders' silicon.
So yeah, so maybe these dice are actually gonna end up over here, these two.
Yeah.
Taking silicon
You have, like,
supplies.
yourself.
And I think on this note, I think this has sort of given Tanner more gas. Like, I
Mhm.
think he is more puffed up. Like, he is building himself up to be this, like, he's starting to believe the hype.
He's a war hero now.
No.
Yeah. Not just like, yeah.
So I'm gonna get
Major eye roll.
I'm gonna get rid of Tanner publicly embarrassed and Ice Riders are unsettled because that feels like it doesn't really
Yeah, we
fit
are now
anymore.
I agree.
living large, taking over the
Correct.
city's safety.
That's right.
So so shortage of silicon in Icarus, but that silicon is now held by the Ice Riders. We have 2 dice here. They're
Right.
going to be rolled at the same time. If either
Okay.
roll a success, then what you're trying to do succeeds. But any failures still get marked.
Okay.
So,
So success, I don't know, probably looks like finding a different source of silicone.
Or,
Okay.
I mean, I think Tanner and Conrad have a more positive relationship. It could even be that Conrad goes to Tanner and
Oh,
like,
true.
right?
Hey, we got to get out of here.
right.
Yep.
One and how
Like totally yeeting me. Okay, all right.
because both of you are working together
We
to
are.
do this.
We
and
are
you
working
want to roll
together.
separately. So
Okay, we are working together.
We're going to him together.
Yes.
together. So you're both
Together.
going to roll a d6 at the
Okay.
same time, and don't roll a 2.
Okay.
Whatever you do,
Oh boy.
don't roll a 2.
Ready? Okay, are we rolling on 3 or?
Yeah, Angela, you got to roll a die too. The both of you are going to roll die. Yeah, you both
Yep.
need to roll. Both need to roll a die.
Okay.
Ready?
Right.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, roll.
Roll.
You got a 2?
2.
Did you both roll 2s?
I rolled a 2. Can you see?
I do. Oh
We
my
got
God.
double 2s.
Double
Okay.
2s.
So my 2 didn't matter, is
It
what
don't.
we're
didn't,
hearing
it
here.
didn't matter.
Okay, so here's what happens.
Thought we were gonna get off the planet.
So because now this happens, right?
Okay.
And because that happens, we're going to do sort of an epilogue of
Yeah,
what
yeah.
of what transpires. So the first thing we need to address is the situation that just happened. So let's
Yeah.
describe how this ends up being an utter failure and leading to the fall of this civilization. What is it that does this, right? And specifically leading to the destruction of the tower, right? Because if we remember sort of how this
Right.
works, like the tower is supposed to fall. So what leads to the tower falling and the downfall of civilization based on the context that we just were presented?
I mean, I feel like is this? Can I?
Yes, it's both of you. It's both of you.
I
Yeah.
feel like we go to Tanner and we attempt to
We do.
wheedle our way into his cold, dead heart, but
Yep.
he doesn't see. He's not interested.
Not
Yeah,
interested.
you guys screwed me last
His
time.
crazy militia
Come on,
is
man.
so on fire as they're taking down everything that they go into the colony. They start destroying all of the statues, all of
Yep.
anything that we've created, and they start tearing down the monument.
Yes. Everything comes down.
They just start going after everything.
Yeah.
Wrangle that tower.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we were screwed because we
Yeah.
can't get off the planet if they take down.
Yeah, and your whole plan of like, and I love this idea, right? That we sort of have been getting these interstitial moments with you where we're seeing you prepping to go there, right? Like we're seeing this, like we're seeing you do the training, we're seeing you do all these things of like
And
we're packing.
All we needed was one last piece
Just
of machinery.
yes.
One last bit of silicon, and so we were
One
going
last
to
ounce.
I think you know
We
how I
have
think
the
this
key.
You know
We
how
have
Right.
the key.
backfired? I'll tell you how I think this totally backfired. We went to him and we played the "We Can Get You Off Planet Too"
Oh
card.
shit!
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just me, not the
Too
not the
noble.
riders.
He was
Right.
too noble, and he was like, "Fuck that shit."
That's right. I'm out.
Everybody's going down if we're going down.
That's
You
right.
know, Dr.
he might-
Rosscap,
and
I
s-
liked you.
And I feel like
Abigail, not so much.
We were banking on you being
We
as much
were.
of a dick as we were.
right.
That apparently was not the case.
True.
And so by standing by his principles,
He's going to. We're all going to die.
yeah, we're all gonna
We're
die.
all gonna die, of course.
Tanner's
Not
gonna be king of the ashes here.
very
Well-
noble, but still not the sharpest knife in the drawer.
Right. True. And I feel like maybe he was
No.
a secret ally of the Smudgers.
Yeah. Well, also the smudge grows. It feeds on discontent.
Discontent, right?
Yeah, it feeds on
Darkness.
that. So just by that interaction, the smudge just would have enveloped everything.
Yeah, you see it like taking over the sky, like the sky just becomes dark for the
Yep.
first time, right? And in a long time, like no, you can't see any stars. And it just goes completely pitch black. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna talk about what happened in the aftermath to
Yes.
each of our characters.
Man.
So how do we think each of these characters ended up? We sort of talked about it already, but what are your final moments? What's the final moment in this TV show of your character, before we cut to black here? Let's start with you, Mark.
All right. I feel like, maybe he tries to grab his underground bunker that he'd had where he'd been hiding these particular mutated folk. But just as the smudge closes in, the mutated people turn on him as well. And he gets double whammy
Yeah,
from both sides.
from both sides.
Yep. It's just not, they're like, you didn't take care of us and we're going to take you out for that.
Those two mutants to like try and use them, and they're like,
Yes, they're not. No, we're not having it. Almost like they're a whole new species of this planet. And maybe they're the only ones to survive the smudge.
Mm, like
Love it.
cockroaches.
Because they're now one of their minions of the smudge. That's
Yeah. Dude, that's dark.
yes, it's
shit.
super dark.
I love it. I love it. It's so good. Elisa, what about you?
I think that Sky goes down. She goes down fighting. So
Nice.
she's in her temple, and she has all of the other druids and everybody holding hands, like trying to like get any of the stars that are left in the sky to glow just to fight this off. But it's just too overpowering, and they just all go down. Probably the military comes in and like destroys the temple too. Like we're like, no, we're your last hope. And
Sure.
Yes, that's so good.
everybody just held hands again. Don't you remember a couple of days when that worked?
Yeah.
People's memories do not hold
Short
to the past.
memories. Yep.
Great. Anjali.
I think she goes fully like irrational crazy, and as all of this stuff has happened, she has somehow made her way to like the ruins of the monument and is
she's
like
in the tower
crazy
when it
woman.
comes down.
She's in the tower like crazy woman trying to
Trying to climb it.
trying to put together the things. She's like, I know I can figure this out. I have a degree. I know I can figure this out. I can get off planet. I can get off planet as the whole thing comes down and smooshes her.
Oh, so cinematic. I love it.
She goes down with the monument. Under the monument.
Under the monument. Yeah. Smashed by her own hubris.
Yep.
Her own greed.
Jonathan.
And Tanner Cho, who spent his whole life taking things down. Like, we hooked the glaciers, we hooked the dry folk, we'll hook this too. Like, that is the only way he knows how to deal with anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and it's all worked so far. He gets, as the darkness covers everything, and he's super out of his depth. So he's got one move left. He like mounts up on his ride, like takes his crew, and just rides into the darkness, like screaming, ready to try and take it down, like swinging their hooks.
It's so good.
You know,
So good.
they're like, it's nothing but the biggest glacier we ever did find.
Yeah.
Except it's black and scary.
Yeah, it's super scary.
Yeah, like and I think he and like his riders just sort of like charge at it. to
Yeah.
their absolute doom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Ama-
and this is after I think all of the chaos is happening, and like people kept turning to Tanner, and he's like, he is not an administrator.
I know. He ain't a leader.
He doesn't like he like none of that. He doesn't care about any of that, right?
Yeah.
He is just looking at this new thing that he can fight. Like,
Right.
and it's like none of that matters. He just so long as Icarus is around.
Yeah.
And so he's just got to stop this thing the only way he knows how, which won't fucking stop.
Which is, yeah, fight it by force.
Mhm.
Uh,
And so he goes down swinging in a very different way from Sky.
Sure. Yeah. Amazing. Okay, well, apparently we might have the actual tower fall from PAX.
Nice.
We won't be able to see it here, but we'll react like we can. JB, can we play that?
I can just have a quick. I can see. Actually, this is a very tall tower.
It's so irregular too. It's
Good.
Oh my god. Wow, that was nice.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, it fully explodes.
I love
it's
it.
crazy.
That is so
Um,
cool.
Yeah, picture that for us, except it got to like 4 high.
Yeah,
No, it
it's
was
the same thing. Really.
it was pretty good. It was that was like sort of probably a standard game that we played as far as dice are concerned. The last thing I want to do, and this is a group effort, is to talk about what happens to Icarus like 100 years in the future. Like,
Ooh.
what does it look like, post all of this? What's our sort of closing image to lead up to a season 2?
So
Ooh. I like it.
I think that the last thing we see, like we come back to the ruins of Icarus, right? And like the reactor heat has turned it into like almost an ocean.
Interesting.
Right, all the glaciers are gone. Right, this
Yeah.
whole society built on these glaciers gone, and sort of like sailing through this ocean are the remainders of the dry folk, no longer dry.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's
We
like
get-
Yes.
black hole turned the whole thing upside down.
Yeah.
Like
We're now living in Waterworld. is what we're-
Waterworld now, right?
Okay.
And somewhere in the middle of the ocean stands a black obelisk.
Yeah. The old
Coming
communication
up out
tower.
of it. Yes.
Yeah.
well,
I
I think
love
like
that.
the smudge, after like eating all of this stuff and all of this power, maybe just collapsed in on itself, right?
Yes.
Creating this
Yeah.
new monument to our folly.
Yes. I like
So good. Well, thank you so much for playing, all of you. This was
Yeah.
like such a. I'm glad that it's still. It's funny because we haven't played this. I haven't played this online very much. I usually play it in person. So it was good to see like that. There's still that tension there and still that story building there.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, let's just take a second, and I just want to do. We always do these at the end of the games that I play to sort of close out everything. But let's do some some comments on some of our favorite things that happened. Like if there's something that somebody did, or a moment that we really liked, or like something that particularly stood out to us that was really enjoyable. Let's flag it. Does anybody want to go first?
Well, I have to say that the smudge thing is huge for me because my wife's dog is called Smudges, and everything
No way.
everything that happens wrong in the house or whatever, I always have a story about it was Smudges. Clearly, she's the ultimate evil.
Throw
in
the
house.
blame. Throw the
Yes.
blame.
The true destroyer.
The true destroyer.
living up to her name here.
Yes, indeed.
Truly.
So I loved that the story just took on a life of its own with Smudge. I was
Yeah.
like, yes. And then the cult, the Smudgers. Oh, that's just awesome.
They worship.
And the naming from the chat was hilarious. I really hope that
Yes. I hope he sees that too,
Oh,
because that's
yes.
so perfect.
Let me pull that up again. Hold on.
Yeah, that was so good.
what
Where
was
is
that?
it? It was- Yeah, superbly mutton chopped, unknown, dark, godly entity.
It's so good.
He's got his new Twitter name for a while now.
Yes, he does.
Like
A lot
oh,
of
man.
characters, though.
It is a lot of characters. I don't know if that'll fit.
Yeah,
I
it's
really
really
like
good.
the societal distinctions between like kind of the two halves. Like we had
Yeah, it
like
was good.
Sky and Tanner kind of as these like on the ground,
Mhm.
like doing their best, like leading these small subgroups, which are much more powerful than the rest of society gave them credit for,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Until they both like rapidly grew, but lacking the ability to actually solve these major problems.
Yeah.
Like Sky honestly had the best shot at it,
Yeah.
but no one.
He tried. Unfortunately, the greed and oppression of the government and the rich folk kind of put a damper on things. They could have had it all.
Yeah.
Yes, it could have had it all.
Could
Yeah.
have had it all.
And I think it's interesting that like that Conrad started out like he really seemed like, you know, kind of this like good man in a high office doing his best. And just slowly, like as things got more intense, he had to like ally himself with Abigail. He had to
Yes.
start using these mutants.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He just like
It was so
of, like,
fun.
you know, he's a good man brought low. While
Yeah.
Abigail has just been
I am
single-mindedly
decidedly not good lady.
That's right.
My favorite character. Like, you did such a great
You
job.
did. It was
So
so good.
evil.
So evil. Yeah.
I will say it's so much fun getting to do this collaborative storytelling kind of game because I'm not. First of all, I love games where I don't have to worry about my fellow players dying. I don't feel like no, save my player before they leave the game. Like when I know we're all gonna die, we can just go full bore.
Yeah. You drive your character like stolen cars.
I love that, and I also loved. I mean, I don't know what it's like when you play in person, but I loved it. There was very little about the mechanics that we had to even really worry about. That you were there to take care of it, Spencer.
Yeah, that made a big difference for the flow. I thought that.
Yeah,
was
you know,
play with the
if we were doing it physically, I think it would be super easy to just follow through, right? Like,
absolutely.
It's because you
you-
have to deal with Roll20. None of us know how to use.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that. Thank God for you there.
Well,
I can barely use my own MacBook for anything.
I'm so glad to be here. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like online games always take longer. They always are more difficult to run if you don't have, you know, it's set up in a really easy way. And so the cards are, you know, it just inherently is more difficult. Roll20 does a great job of allowing us to still play, but like you have to learn the system, you have to learn the game, and you have to learn the platform at the same time. Right. So like, yeah, but in person, it's very much just like drop my die on a thing, describe what I'm doing, draw a card, and that's all the whole.
Like in this quarantine world, and also not when we're out of it. If you actually have the cards and stuff with them, they will be able to figure out a way, even using Roll20 and not using Roll20, to be able to play this over Zoom with friends all over the world, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I've also experimented with like everybody stacking their own towers, and when the final tower falls, then the game ends.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
Or the majority of towers fall, or whatever it is. I don't, you know, it just kind of depends on how long you want the game to go.
Yeah.
This like decks list like format of just with marking off the numbers, that did still had plenty of tension.
Okay, good. I'm so glad.
Someone in the chat, Not Always Weak, pointed out like that they really love games where the outcome is predetermined and the actual objective in the game is telling a good story. And I think that's something I really appreciate here, because in a lot of RPGs like D&D, there's this secondary to role, like there's role playing, but there's also winning. Right. And not like you can't win an RPG, but you like want to survive. You want to like, you know, play optimally. You're really encouraged to do that. And so you're always encouraged to like work together. And then in a lot of games, you kind of are mechanically encouraged to go over character dynamics and not let conflicts happen unless the players are willing to sacrifice a bit of efficiency or success on that front. With this, like we were able to very immediately be like, Tanner's like, no, we don't give them this thing. Abigail's like, absolutely we do.
Yes, we do. That conflict was really good.
So much fun to be able to come in guns a-blazing and be like, I'm going to be the bad guy.
That's right.
We all came in with that social contract of being like, you know, and like, that's not going to kill Tanner. That's going to do something interesting to him narratively.
Yeah, totally. Well, those are my favorite kinds of, I mean, we look at something like The Quiet Year or Dialect or any of these games that have a similar kind of format where we kind of know how the game is supposed to play, but like we're able to really use the mechanics to tell that story almost from a macro
Yeah.
stance, right? And that's what fascinated me about those kinds of games, and why, you know, especially the Quiet Year, that was what I played before I played this, and I was like, oh man, there's so much in there that is like just brilliant storytelling made via very very like not minimalist but precise mechanics.
Yeah.
You know,
it feels like it's distilled.
Yeah.
10 Candles is the same kind of way.
10 Candles,
which is one that I play a
It's
lot.
same
When
way.
I love it.
the rules of this, I'm like, okay, I understand how this game works. It's a storytelling game with a predetermined ending, but the stories, every time I play 10 Candles, it's completely different.
It's totally different.
Yeah.
So,
Also, I assumed that, like, knowing that you were going to fail in this game and 10 Candles, I assumed in both cases that it was like somewhat depressing, but it was so much fun.
It's so much fun.
Go out in a blaze of glory.
a lot more lighthearted than
Like, there's something about the release of that, like knowing one way or the other, whether it's in an hour or in 10 hours, this ending and it ain't ending well.
Sure. Yeah. It doesn't feel like you're scared to fail.
And it let you be as evil as possible because you knew the comeuppance was coming, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh, exactly.
You know that someone kind of needs to be.
Yeah. Well, and usually it's the
story, where you don't necessarily feel that in a lot of other RPGs, where you don't want to be the bad guy in the party.
Right.
Yeah. Totally.
And I really appreciate the fact that, you know, none of us had played and none of us played together, but we all fed off of each other really, really well. Because I've been in other storytelling games where that doesn't go so well.
Yeah.
But I feel like we collaborated really, really well. It was just a
really
blast.
fun playing with you guys.
Yeah, it's such a pleasure.
Diverse, like the characters that you guys came up with, you know, like so diverse and so all over the place, and like it was such a cool thing coming from. I can only imagine how many permutations that there be of this when people just keep thinking.
At the very beginning, 3 of us were gunning for health.
Yes.
Yep.
So, like, that would have been.
Imagine what that story would have looked like if one of you, like,
it'd been different.
And then if we chose the health as the weakness instead of.
Oh man, the weakness of health was like a pandemic, right?
Yeah, which is not good to hit on right now. So I'm glad we didn't. But like, it would have been a totally different kind of story. And so but really, this game, my favorite part about this game, and the reason why and as some of you are game designers, you'll know, like you play a game and there are specific things that you really grasp onto about it. And the thing that brought me, and we get to the point where like you've played it enough where you know whether this is something that has legs or doesn't have legs, right? And for me, the thing that this game did that I grasped onto, I think, was that it allows me to watch my friends be incredibly creative and come up with stuff I never would have thought of. And so like, that's oftentimes I like to just be the facilitator and sit back and watch them, people that are generally just players in standard RPGs, like come up with shit that never would have come out of my mouth, you know? And so that's one of the other things I really like about storytelling games in general, and about this, you know, as a specific piece. One of my design goals with it was to do that. So I
think one of my favorite parts about this that I kind of is something I've been thinking about a lot on RPGs is that this was a really good drama that we told. Like this, like kind of tonally, and like this was honestly like a fairly serious, fairly intense story.
It really was.
And most RPGs often fall into comedy super quickly because everyone's so friendly, everyone's having a good time. Like, you know, even serious D&D games, you'll have gags, you'll have jokes, things will get funny. The narrative focus of this being kind of about like the society falling, and the prompts are really strong. Like, you know, and I mean, I love silliness. I love having a
me too.
But, like the fact that like, you know, it's often hard to have a game that's not that if your friends are funny. And I know a bunch of you guys are super funny otherwise. But like being able to kind of do this and actually have like a game that was genuinely like a drama with like interesting character conflicts, like kind of, and some tragedies occurring to these people was really cool. That wasn't, you know, that didn't end up accidentally tripping into slapstick. And it was really, I'm really impressed with the game structurally on that front.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I agree.
Yeah, it's interesting because we have played silly games of it, and it runs okay. But my favorite games are always the games where we're having a lot of fun, but we're also like sticking pretty seriously to the like construct, right? Like it is a falling civilization, and there is tragedy in that. And 10 Candles, I think, is a great touchstone for that as well. Like it does such a good job of imbuing that, and I stole a lot from that as far as like imbuing tone in the words that we choose to use. So you know, credit where credit is due.
I also have to speak to this because I say this a lot to people, since my primary life is as a TV actor and a stage actor. And so every time I play an RPG, particularly this Outbreak Undead, you know, all these beautiful RPGs that are basically long form improv.
Yeah.
But instead of getting a suggestion from the audience, you're actually collaborating together and either dealing with a GM or not, and it's all a roll of the dice. There's something so beautiful about storytelling that way that is not something that we get to do normally as actors in scripted things.
Right.
And I honestly think that anyone who is interested in a life in the arts should be playing role-playing games.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're huge educational tools for everyone.
Yep.
I mean, you just have to watch Stranger Things to know how important it is to know how to play.
Right.
But I think that it's a really it works a part of our brain that we don't necessarily get to do when we're dealing with things that are predetermined for us.
Yeah, when you have scripts and lines.
Right.
Yeah, and it's all, this game especially is all yes and. Ooh, you just came up with that idea, so then this is going to be how I work that into my.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was curious because
Alisa, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that, like, that being said, as far as, you know, from the acting and entertainer side of things, as an author and game designer, like, this is an amazing world building tool.
Yes.
Like, I could totally see
write your next book.
reading the book that is set in the universe that we just created.
That would be awesome.
I mean, I could
please write that.
Yes, please do.
I would watch this show. Like I would watch 10 seasons.
Right.
If you would write
I
that.
found that with a lot of these types of games, that like it's a really good tool. Like I do a lot of world building panels at, you know, conventions like Gen Con and whatnot. And I've talked about it in the past that a lot of these types of storytelling games will help you generate ideas that you never would have had before. Going into this game today, I never would have thought this is where anything was going to go at all.
No.
That's awesome. It's really interesting. Two things. The first is that the game has served me really well as a session zero for like playing in another system. So Outbreak Undead, or even D&D, you create a fantasy setting, you get to go explore those ruins with the group that you have, right? I did a set for Kids on Bikes that was basically set in like pirate time, like it's a pirate play set, but it's designed to go into Kids on Bikes. And so that's the lore of the seaside town that you are in, is like it used to be this pirate town. And so you know where so you know all these stories of the pirates and how it ended, and all the players have been the ones who are playing are the ones who created that world. And so then as kids, those are the like childhood stories that they're telling, but they're all maybe real in this world. Second thing, and then Jonathan, I know you had something you wanted to talk about too. There's a video on YouTube that was fascinating. That was if you Google Icarus RPG on YouTube, there's somebody who uses it in a way that they aren't playing the game. They're doing almost tarot readings with the cards, and they'll pull like a motive for a character that they want to write, and then they'll pull like two or three pillars that represent like what the society might be, and then they pull
writing tool.
and then they'll pull like 3 or 4 of the different like era cards, right, the prompt cards, and they'll use those to build the inciting incident of their book or whatever they're writing.
It makes perfect sense.
And even solo, they were able, so like that was I never would have thought to do that because I'm writing an RPG, but like they took it and just made it a tool where they drew it like tarot. And it was anyway. So if you are a writer and you maybe don't play RPGs with your friends and you're interested in that, this might be an opportunity to use the game in a unique way.
I mean, there's that classic joke, right? It's like, man, I just want to play in a D&D game run by myself. I have been told that this is writing.
Yes.
Writing a novel.
That's exactly what it is.
but like I find it really fascinating structurally with the way you were kind of laying out this fictional landscape of the setting as we were like laying down cards and seeing how they relate to each other. And I was really curious early on because, as you said, like we only place dice to connect to, like every round we were only placing 4 dice, and we were like adding like 4 or 5 more cards in addition to the ones that were already on the board. But it was really neat seeing that as players, like as we were building this world, the cards did interact with each other. So like, you know, by doing this one thing, we can actually be progressing 2 other things, or like, you know, solving 2 other problems, but the thing that the character is doing is aimed at this. So it's just really, it feels more like where the camera is, right?
Yes.
And then the attention goes like, and then you can see like how it like the ramifications as it spreads out. Like I was really, even in the very beginning, right, when it was like, I was thinking, you know, I got my society thing of like, oh, what's the big societal thing? And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. And then you said super water, and I was like, well, where do you get super water? Well, right. I mean, Mars got like, and so like, you know, we were already building off of each other's stuff from the word go.
Yeah.
And I'm really super impressed. Like, I think it's
same.
super cool.
Yeah, this was so fun.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be breathless praise this whole time.
Yeah, right.
Hey, you know what?
Incredible game to have designed and to
thank you.
It's
Definitely
such a wonderful thing.
Means the world to me. Truly, this is my I was sitting on a plane stacking dice after chatting with Ivan at Gen Con and randomly running into each other, and that's sort of was like the inception of this, and it just, you know, it's one of those things that like I think that there are so many games that utilize the mechanics that this has, but that are, or so many games that already had those mechanics in place, and it was just about finding that combination and having it be something new. And so there's, you know, I could list off 1,000 games that were hugely influential in this. And so it's standing on the shoulders of giants, truly. And it takes amazing players. So thank you all for putting yourselves out there and for, you know, coming in ready to collaborate and ready to yes and because
I
really good time.
Thank Smudges the dog is who
Yes.
We should thank Smudges the dog. Absolutely. Okay, well, let's.
Smudge did destroy us all.
Smudge did, as she would.
Let's just go around and do socials and plugs just at the very end here, so that we can make sure everybody can follow you if they want to. Let's start with you, Mark.
Yeah, so you can find me on the Dice Tower. Specifically, I do the Dice Tower preview videos for Kickstarter folks and for more promotional type videos. So you check those out. There's a whole playlist for them. And on Twitter, you can find me as Board Game Corner. You can find me on Instagram, BG Corner, and on Facebook as well. So all those places.
Great. Elisa, let's jump to you.
Okay. I said it before, I'm a game designer, role-playing game designer as well. And I have a lot of things to plug right now. But the first
please.
Number one is something that just came out and is available now from Renegade Game Studio. It is my brand
Boardlings.
Boardlings.
So excited.
That's awesome.
Doggy.
So yeah, that is a brand new 5e compatible campaign setting and full
Nice.
that you can use on its own or in your existing games, if you want to roll up a new character and bring the wordlings over into whatever 5e setting you have.
That's
or
cool.
Play in this setting. So I'm really excited about that. It's brand new. And so I had to say that. And what else am I working on? From coming soon from Hunters Entertainment, I am working on Werewolf 5th edition. I'm one of the writers for that, which is also super exciting. And yeah, we're working furiously on that right now, and it will be coming. I don't want to say a date because I don't know what date. Soon-ish.
Oh, werewolf. Oh God.
I have no idea. But soon. And then the
hours in White Wolf
to actively plug is coming. What day is it? Coming June 18th through the 21st. I am one of the narrative designers and puzzle designers for D&D Live this year. Ooh. And D&D Live will not be an in-person event this year, obviously, but it's going to be online. You can go to D&D Live, or I think it's dndlive.com. Oh God, I should know what it is. 1 second, you can go to, I think it's dndlive.com. or just the D&D
Google
website.
D&D Live, yeah.
And there's going to be actual play games to watch, Adventures League games to play in, and a super awesome reality RP reality show starring like a full cast of community D&D members that you guys all know and love, which will be puzzly and interactive with people playing at home, so you can help them figure
Nice.
out.
Wow.
And it's going to be awesome.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it all goes to Red Nose Charity.
Oh, cool.
Amazing.
Cool.
Amazing.
Oh, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram sorry, or my website, elisateague.com. The end.
We missed your handle because we were laughing.
Oh, sorry. My handle is @geekypinup, and my my website address is elisateague.com.
Amazing. Anjali, it's up to you.
Hang on, I'm making sure that I follow Geeky Pinup. I don't know how you. How did I not follow you already? Hi guys. Oh my gosh, all of the things that I am working on right now, I'm not allowed to talk about.
Yes.
So recently a movie of mine finally came out. It went straight to iTunes because quarantine, but it's called The Bellman. It is a ridiculous and stupid movie. So if you need something that is just a little bit of stupidity right now in your life, please go check out The Bellman on iTunes. And if you are a fan of network television, keep an eye out for my character to come back, perhaps on television's Blind Spot.
Oh, good. Cool.
I can neither confirm nor deny the allegations that she may or may not come back.
That's awesome.
And then on the socials, I'm Sweet Anj, but sweet with 3 E's, because even though most Indians are spelling champions, I decided to be a rebel. So it's SWEEETANJ. All over the socials, and you can also check out my web series on YouTube, I Am Fun Size, which provides a lot of tools for dealing with the challenges that you might have in life. There are a few videos on there that I think are particularly helpful to a lot of people right now. There's one about coping with loneliness, and there's one that I affectionately call How the Do I Love Myself? Because everyone tells you you're supposed to love yourself, but no one tells you exactly what that means. So this is how I interpreted that. And so those 2 things, I think right now, especially while we're in quarantine, are something you might want to check out. So you can check me out on the YouTube there.
Cool. Wonderful. Awesome. Jonathan, it's up to you.
So I'm a game designer. Bargain Quest is sort of one of my many babies. I think right now we've got a pre-orders are available for the next expansion for Bargain Quest, which is Sunk Costs, which is a nautical theme expansion.
So cool.
Which is about
such a good name.
Boats to the game. It's
nice.
My favorite expansion that we've done.
That's awesome.
I'm excited about it. So yeah, that one's available online, and I think we just wrapped the Kickstarter for the Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid Rise of the Psycho Rangers, kind of the final box of Phase 2. It's a big box expansion. Let's see. I think you could still do late pledges now if you go look that up on Kickstarter. Let's see. And yeah, kind of those are the 2 big things that I can talk about right now. We're all in NDA land these days.
Yeah, that's true.
We could tell you, but then we'd have to kill you.
Yes,
we need you to watch our shows and play our game.
Yes.
Do you want to plug your socials?
So you can find me at jonathanying.com, or my Twitter is @FancyMancer. Which is, think of it like a necromancer, like a wizard, except fancy, like
fancy,
dapper, really, fancy.
Nice.
And I think I'm actually going to be on a panel tomorrow for Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid.
Oh, cool.
So if you want to learn more about it, or if you're a fan and are in the chat and want to have a good time, we're going to be talking about the design and development of the game and kind of how it got to this point, as well as where we're moving forward with the franchise. It's been super awesome. And I'm often in the Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid Facebook group, which Renegade runs, and answering rules questions and talking with fans. It's a super cool community. It's been a pretty good time, all things considered.
That's great. Okay, well, yes, please.
I forgot.
No, please.
I forgot one more thing. And this is actually, I think, really important right now, too. I'm going to be a panelist at something that is called CasaCon. It's an online free to attend any of these panels convention. And it is focused particularly on mental health and personal awareness and self-esteem and all of so many fantastic things for people in the convention community who are feeling a lack of that in their lives right now. I'm going to be doing a panel on working past failure and rejection, which as an actress, you have to learn right away.
Yes, indeed.
And I'm also going to be doing a Q&A after that. But there's some great panels lined up, and I know they're going to be pulling in a bunch of guests. That's going to be June 12th through 14th. You can look them up on the interwebs. It's CasaCon, casacon.nardio.net, or just go to Instagram, and it's the CasaCon, C-A-S-A Con. And I'm doing Outbreak Undead tomorrow.
Nice.
So, yes, and it's gonna be quite a group of people.
That's awesome.
And apparently it's gonna be a musical too, because of what I just said.
So down for that.
Ha! Zombies!
Yeah, the zombies, the musical.
Zombies!
As for me, you can find my game Icarus on renegadegamestudios.com. It's available for sale there. Should be in stock. Also,
Icarus, never heard of it.
Yeah.
Yep, Icarus. What's Icarus? Let me give you the pitch. No. You can also find, I have a game called Alice is Missing that is out on Kickstarter right now. It is, I cannot fathom the amount of support that we have received from it. It is blowing my mind. It is a silent role-playing game about the disappearance of Alice Briarwood, a high school junior in a small town called Silent Falls. And you play the entire game via text message. So it is entirely played on your phone between players. It has a licensed soundtrack, and it is a strict 90 minutes for the game, and then the game is over. It is a mystery that sort of generates itself as you play. And I'm really, really excited and proud of the work that I did on that. So if you have the opportunity, and if that sounds interesting to you, please go to alicesmissing.com, or which leads you to the Kickstarter, or go search it on Kickstarter. It is only $20 for the physical or for the Roll20, and it would mean the world to me. So
yeah. And I can tell you, after digging into it, because I'm going to be doing a video for it, it looks amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
It's truly been the thing that I've put like the most of myself into ever. It's been a hell of a process, and I'm so proud of the work that was done on it. So awesome. You can also find me. I'm going to be on a panel on Sunday with some amazing people talking about designing unique systems for RPGs. So talking about Icarus, talking about Alice, talking about Kids on Brooms, and how we sort of approach those to make them feel original in their own ways. And then I'm also going to be doing. Oh, sorry, that was probably loud. I'm also going to be running or I'm going to be playing in a live stream of Kids on Brooms with an incredible cast on Sunday at 6. The panel that I'm doing is on Sunday from 12 to 2, and then and then Kids on Brooms is at 6. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think so. I think that's all I have to plug. I know we're in unprecedented times, and the world is crazy, and I'm just so glad that we had the opportunity to get together and explore some stuff together for a couple of hours. So thank you all for joining me. Hopefully you had a good time. And oh God, I keep hitting this. I'm sorry.
I have to say as well, thank you so much for this. I had so much fun tonight, guys.
God,
you were so fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
Truly.
Thank you guys for hanging out, all the Twitch folks and all that.
Yeah, and thank you to the audience. Thank you for the wonderful chat. We're so thankful for all of you out there as well. And yeah, this is a perfect way to end the day for me. So so that being said, we will see you very soon. We'll all be across the interwebs. Go say hi to us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.